morning, everyone. I'd like to call this Tampa City Council meeting to order. At this time, we'll stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you for the moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Look, it's Lewis has got his own thing.
Carlson. Hertek.
Here.
Clendenin.
Here.
Henderson.
Present.
Vieira. Here. Miranda.
The broadcast is now starting.
Maniscalco.
Here.
You have a physical quorum.
All right, thank you very much. May I have a motion to adopt the minutes from June 6, 2024 and the evening session of June 13, 2024? Motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Council Attorney Shelby.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, City Council, members of the public. Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney. Members of the public will be allowed a reasonable opportunity after the presentations this morning to address any item on the agenda or off the agenda before the City Council takes official action on an item. City Council has amended and restated its rules of procedure, and there are some changes with regard to public comment, which you probably saw this morning when you came in. And I'd like to take just a few minutes to talk about it so the rest of the public who are watching at home or on replay will be able to know about this. If you wish to speak during general public comment, that's the part of the meeting on regular agendas such as today, when you have an opportunity to speak to on-agenda or off-agenda items, you can fill out a speaker card and place it in the box that's outside the door. One card per speaker. And you just have to put your name in effect and also to check yes if it's on agenda or off agenda. The cards will be accepted until the start of general public comment. So for instance, those people who come in now still have an opportunity to put their name in the box for general public comment. If you do not submit a card before general comment, your name will not be called and you will not have an opportunity to speak. Names that cannot be read will not be called, so if it is not legible, please, if you need assistance, please see city staff. The 3-minute time limit applies, but if you're here to speak at a public hearing, which is designated as a public hearing on the agenda, you do not need a speaker card. You just fill in the sign-in sheet, which is for public hearings only, just as you normally used to do for everything. So, that being said, speakers and members of the public are also reminded that they are to refrain from disruptive behavior, including making vulgar or threatening remarks or making or causing disruptive noises or sounds or displaying signs or graphics. Speakers are reminded to refrain from making personal attacks against any city official, staff member, or member of the public. The chair will rule out of order who speaks without being recognized or attempts to address the council from outside the speaker area at the podium. Now, with regard to general public comment, each person submitting cards will be recognized by name and approached to speak. And Mr. Chairman, if you can, when you call out the next speaker, if you could call out the name of the person who follows, that way it's almost as if, what do they call that, being on deck for the next speaker. And that's how it'll progress. Persons failing to comply with council rules may be ruled out of order and at the discretion of the chair may be removed from the chamber for the remainder of today's meeting. And again, if you're here to speak on an item set for a public hearing, the sign-in sheet is outside, and you will have the opportunity when the item is heard later in the agenda. No public comment will be taken during staff reports. The time to speak about those items and items on the consent agenda will be during general public comment. And finally, please, City Council, you should refrain from engaging a speaker under public comment. And please, members of the public, be aware that the City Council does not take questions or have a dialogue with you during general public comment. This is your opportunity to express your position. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. All right, at this time we have housekeeping. We're going to go over the agenda, the approval of the agenda, and the addendum. Councilman Miranda, you had requested to remove item number 3. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's regarding Mr. Foreman.
Is it to continue to a future date?
Yes,
or-
sir, if I may, to August 22nd.
All right, we're going to
Of
move item
2024.
number 3 to August 22nd, under ceremonial. Councilmember Miranda with the motion, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. All right, item number 1, no staff will be present. Can we get a motion to receive and file unless they're, all right, thank you very much. Councilmember Clendenin with a motion, and second from Councilmember Miranda. We received a memo that this will be coming up in August, is that correct?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a statement about it. Do you want me to do it
Councilmember
now or wait? No, I'd just like to thank Jason Carty and his brother for working closely with staff. Unfortunately, Elise is leaving. Elise has been managing this and leading this. And it looks like agreement is in the works right now for the History Center and USF to actually help us renovate this building. So look forward to getting an update. I know Morris is working on the agreements, and look forward to seeing those when they come back.
All right, thank you very much. We have a motion to receive and file that, and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Item number 69 will not be heard. It was misnoticed. So if we can get a motion to remove that from the agenda. Councilmember Clendenin with the motion, second Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. And then item number 74 will not be heard. It was also misnoticed. Can we get a motion to remove? All right, motion to remove from Councilmember Clendenin, second Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, is there anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to bring back for reconsideration the Shot Spotter program that was presented to us last week. And, you know, hopefully I can get a second so we can discuss it.
Second.
And I want it to be time certain at 11:30 because our police department has something to do later on in the day and they may miss the staff.
We have a
Mr.
motion and a second.
Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Carlson and then Councilmember.
Yeah, our protocol is that we discuss new business
At the end of
to
the
bring
day.
something back at the end of the day, and we would schedule it for a notice meeting so
Yeah.
that the public can know about it.
Yeah, if we're spending money that's not on this agenda, it needs to be moved to the next agenda.
That would be July 18th.
Yes,
There was a second
Yeah.
to the motion by Councilmember Miranda.
Right, so when we make a motion, even though we have the rule for reconsideration, it can still be presented, correct? If you make a motion?
If it's council's pleasure to entertain a motion to reconsider it during the approval of the agenda, it may be placed on the agenda today, so long as public comment, it's after public comment, and the public has the ability to
So-
speak. There's no law that says it cannot be added to the agenda.
so that means that I
Councilmember
could,
Hurtak.
I could bring back something and have us spend $30 million on something?
If you get a second and discussion and a vote of four.
So that seems, but that seems really like not letting the public know about this.
Wait, Councilmember Carlson, Councilmember Vieira.
Yeah, just the end of my statement from a minute ago is that the public has a right to know what's on our agenda, and I always object to things being put on the agenda last, whether I'm for them or against them. And at the last second, the public has a right to have a scheduled item on this. This is a very controversial project. Of course, I voted against it, but if Councilmember Henderson is changing her votes, they probably have the votes for it, but that doesn't mean that the public doesn't have a right to weigh in and to know that this discussion is coming. So a vote put on the agenda today really is a vote against allowing the public to provide input on it.
Councilmember Vieira.
Yes, sir, thank you. What I would say is between now and then, we can ask Mr. Shelby to look and see if there were any legal issues with this at all. I mean, or unless you can say right now, I mean, if we vote on it today, are there any legal issues that would preclude us from doing so? Because I want to make sure, or if you need more time for that today.
As of now, I see none. Let me read the rule to you, just to say, this was for a resolution to approve a contract, if I recall correctly. Do you know if that's the case?
That's what it was.
Okay, so yes, so that, and originally it was on the consent docket, or was it a staff report? It was originally on the consent docket? Okay. This is Rule 4E. A motion to reconsider an action of council shall be made only by a member who previously voted on the prevailing side, and shall be made at the same meeting or at the first subsequent regular meeting, which is today. A second to the motion may be made by any member. This is a two-part process. You can, during the approval of the agenda, determine whether you want to add it to an agenda, either today at 11:30 as part of your motion, which is part of your motion now, or for another day if that's ultimately council's pleasure. But passing that motion to reconsider does not pass the item, shot spotter contract. It actually places it back on the agenda in the same posture it originally was, and then you get to take it up during your agenda, whether it's this agenda or a future agenda. But the motion on the floor now is to do it for a time certain today at 11:30.
Councilmember Miranda, then Councilmember Hurtak.
I can only say that it was said that if it's only a second that she has a 4 votes. Well, I've never talked to her about it, and I seconded it. So that's all I'm going to say.
Councilmember Hurtak.
Again, regardless of how I feel about this, the fact that we can just put something on the agenda and pass it is absolutely unconscionable. Because I could bring back anything. And if I had 4 votes to spend $10 million on, I don't know, putting a whirly gig on top of City Hall, I could do that.
Morris Massey, Legal Department. Real quickly, this rule only applies to items, legislative items that you all rejected, and the immediate prior agenda does not apply to anything, and it's already been on the agenda.
Mr. Massey,
Yeah.
though,
Yeah.
that's not the issue. The issue is if I bring something back that we denied, we are not allowing the public to be heard on that.
You do, you're required to take public comment before the item is considered, so yes.
But it was not on the agenda.
The public didn't know to come to
The
the.
public had no idea. If they couldn't be here, they missed the 24-hour notice to be able to speak remotely. So this was not known.
Well, just to be clear, the public had the opportunity to speak on June 6th when it was properly on City Council's agenda and City Council considered it. This is a motion for reconsideration under the new rules that you all adopted. It doesn't talk about a time frame as to when to be reconsidered. So that's up to council to decide. It's being brought up now so that there is still public comment to be heard today, so that anyone that is present and or watching has the ability to make a public comment today. So it was properly on your all's agenda on June 6th, and anyone in the public had the proper notice and plenty of time to come and make a comment regarding this. This is to reconsider.
they did, which is why-
considered
I
this.
still have a question. I still have the floor. So my question then, I just want to know, Councilwoman Henderson, you voted against this 2 weeks ago. What changed your mind again to saddle taxpayers with this expense?
Well, that is a really good question that we can have under discussion when we bring it back to
I call the question.
All right, we have a motion. Was there a motion? Was there a second?
Miranda.
We have a motion and a second.
Well,
There's no second to call the question.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
We have a motion and a second to call the question. We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Could we have a roll call, please?
Motion carried with
Yes, just to call the question.
Carlson, Hurtek, and Maniscalco voting no.
All right,
So
so
the motion passed on a 4-3 vote?
to call the question.
To call
So
the
now
question.
this is the actual vote. Councilmember Henderson
Wait a
has
second.
the,
Yes, if I can, just counsel, I just want to be one thing clear. This is not a new rule. This is an old rule.
I know.
And what it says is, and just so you know, 2 points that I'd like to make. A motion to reconsider an action of council, as I read before. It shall be made only at the same meeting. So even if what happens is, if it's voted and you want to reconsider it and you are on the prevailing side, even after the public leaves the room, you can vote to reconsider it under new business or whenever you have the floor to be able to do that. A motion to reconsider is in order. The other point that I want to make about that is that the case law, if your rules do not preclude it, the case law gives great latitude to a city council controlling its agenda with regard to notice and opportunity to be heard on legislative matters. So if a council wants to bring up an item perhaps under new business, you certainly have the right to do it. A motion to reconsider certainly could be done at the same meeting, could be done at this meeting. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean that what is being raised is a valid reason to either support or not support the motion to reconsider.
Fair enough. We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Miranda. This is
Could you repeat the motion?
Please restate your motion for the 11:30, ma'am.
Yes, to bring back the Shot Spotter program discussion and vote for 11:30 time certain at 11:30, only because the police department has something to do and they may not be available,
We have a
during staff
motion
reports.
from Councilmember Henderson, second Councilmember Miranda. You've called the question.
I know, but I would like to make a motion to, I'd make a motion to amend. I'd like a
No.
motion.
You've called the question, sir. We have a motion, and we have a second from Councilmember Miranda. Let's take a roll call vote. This is to bring it back for 11:30.
Hurtek,
No.
Clendenin,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes,
Viera,
Yes.
Miranda, Carlson,
No.
Maniscalco.
No.
Motion carried with Hurtek, Carlson, and Maniscalco voting no.
All right. Can I get, we're going to go through staff reports real quick. Is there an administration update? Chief Bennett? Yes?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but just for the purposes of the public at home knowing what just happened, what just passed was a motion to add it to the agenda for consideration at 11:30 time certain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Bennett?
Morning, Council. Good morning, public. John Bennett, Chief of Staff. Yes, there is an administrative update. J.C. Hutchinson from Development and Growth Management will spend a few minutes explaining to the public the benefits of the code enforcement hearings and how they are working well to serve the public. So it'll be a 5-minute presentation.
Thank you very much. All right, item number 78 and 80 will be heard together. 79 will be alone, but Vic and Mr. Bide and Mr. O'Hara will be present. So we have 78, 79, and 80. They will be present. We will have people here. Item number 81, we have a memo
Motion
from
to-
Chief Tripp.
Yeah, motion to continue. I'd like to make a motion to receive and file a report, but also continue this item to 2025.
Okay, so we will, I mean, you can make a later motion for that. We'll receive and file this, and if you want to bring up a motion to continue the discussion, just so it's clear, it doesn't make it go away, but it gives you the
Or
opportunity.
can I just make a motion to continue it until
All right,
February 6, 2025?
fair enough. We have a motion from Councilmember Carlson for 81, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item number 82, we have a written report. Do we need staff present? Anybody? No? Yes, ma'am. 82.
My only question about this was about noise.
So do you want staff present?
Well, staff told me that noise is actually through the building department, so I'm curious what the building department is doing about noise.
So would you like somebody present to discuss 82?
I don't know that today is the day for that. I'll probably bring it up in new business.
Okay, so we'll receive and file item number 82. Motion? Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye, and then under new business, we can talk about it. Item number 83, there's a request to continue this to August 1st.
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Carlson, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 84, there's going to be a verbal report, so we will obviously have someone for 84 here. Item number 85 is a verbal report as well, so we will have somebody here. Item number 86, there is a written report. Do we need anybody here? No? Move to receive and file 86. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from,
sorry, y'all.
please silence your cell phone. Councilmember Carlson with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Item number 87 is a verbal report, so someone will be
And
here.
if I may, for
Yes,
that,
sir.
I mean, that may or may not be, I'm trying to speak to some staff about 87 before, just to save council's time, so it.
We'll hold
I
it
may-
till
Yeah,
lunch.
so
Okay.
if we get in touch, I may.
I'll put pending. All right, item number 88, we have a request to continue this item to September 19th.
So
Is there a
moved.
motion? Motion from Councilmember Carlson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item number 89, motion to continue to July 18th. Motion from Councilmember Miranda to continue. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item number 90, there is a request to continue this to July 18th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion from Councilmember Carlson,
Wait.
second from Councilmember Miranda.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
All in favor? I said July 18th,
Yeah.
2024. Yes, sir.
We
Okay.
don't have room on that agenda.
Pardon? What's that?
We do not have room on that agenda. There's already 18 items and the mayor's budget presentation.
And I guess my point is, there's something else that we also made a motion in August to, and I suspect that what's going to happen is when the staff requests a date, they may need to clear that on their agenda, on the council's agenda as well. So when, and I could have that conversation offline with the chief of staff.
How about August 22nd?
Yeah, let's move that to August 22nd. I'm looking here, all right.
The one before,
The one from
89.
This is the Community Benefits
July
Agreement
18th.
Committee.
So move to continue 90 to August 22nd.
So item number 90 is going to be to August 22nd. Motion from Councilmember Carlson, is there a second? Second from Councilmember Clendenin, all in favor? Aye.
If I could go back to number 89, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Is this a time-sensitive item?
Yes, it is a time-sensitive item, and also the request, it was set to July 18th. I suspect this is the first time you're going to be making appointments to the Community Benefits Agreement Committee,
Yeah.
and it's significant, and we have a new place on your agenda for that called Board and Administration Appointments, and perhaps it's best that that be placed under that particular place. So that those, is it council's pleasure to allow the people who are applying to be able to come to council and address you, or you want to just rely on the written applications?
What's the pleasure of council? Turn on your mic.
I mean, I don't believe there's anything that we always have people come in and address for interviews. Is there any positions that we fill without interviews? Or the opportunity to come in and talk?
Sometimes people don't come in or are unable to.
But I mean, they always have an opportunity though, right?
Yeah, I think we should give them the opportunity to come in
And
person.
this is something, this is a case of first impression. This is the first time this is appearing on your agenda, so you want to be consistent whatever you do.
Okay.
I think for consistency, we should have an opportunity for them to come in.
So
Councilmember Miranda.
I know there's been discussion about the mayor making the presentation for the budget on July the 18th, and Councilmember Hurtak is right. I was gonna make that motion at the end of the meeting, but if I may ask now, because that way we know when it's coming and the public's here, they can listen to it also, that I move to have the mayor's budget presentation for 2025 budget on July the 18th, 2024 for the first application
So we
she's trying
have
to get
that
into the
out there.
council.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, sir. Councilmember, or Mr. Shelby?
I just want to confirm, Mr. Miranda, that's going to be the first item on the agenda?
I would like
after the
to make it
approval?
first item if I may.
That's
That
fine.
way we can get the administration and all her staff back
That's
to
fine.
work.
So that'll come before the Officer of the Month and the other commendations or
Yes,
presentations?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Item number 91, we have a written report for said agenda. Is that, all right, 91 and 92 should be received and filed.
No,
Wait.
I want, staff is aware for 92 that, I'm sorry, Chair.
Okay, no, no.
Recognized by you.
So item number 91, do we need someone present, or is the council's fine with the written agenda, written report?
Motion to receive and file.
We have motion received and filed, item number 91, second from Councilmember Vieira, all in favor?
Aye.
And for 92, you would like staff present, ma'am?
Yes. and they're
All right,
aware.
item 92, we would like someone present. All right, item number 93, there's a request to continue
So
this
moved.
to July 18th, but again, this is a full council. Is there a request to maybe push that to August 1st?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
these were specifically, items number 91 and 92 and 93 were specifically designated to be written staff reports. If you look at the heading on your agenda, under your rules, moving forward, and it could begin today, as it was set forth on your agenda, written staff reports are to be received and filed without discussion. Again, items 91 through 93. Just so you know in the future, when you designate something written, it'll appear separately on the agenda. And if you want to have somebody, after reading the memo, come back to speak, then you have to place it on a future agenda to give staff notice and opportunity to prepare for the discussion. If there's any question about it, please talk with me afterwards. But
Well, I know that there is public here today to talk on this item. It's about the Yellow Jackets field. So there probably are a few people that want to, chime in on that for us to hear about it.
Okay.
And really, my intention was for the public to hear the actual facts rather than it being in a memo, hidden in
Understood.
words. Say it publicly so that we can have, some comments on it and the public can hear it. I did ask for staff report, and that is a neophyte mistake. That won't happen again.
Madam, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I suggest following the rules that he just said. I think that Councilperson Henderson should just make a motion to request that staff come. If they can't, then they could tell us. But just to follow protocol. It's a new request, and I don't mind seconding that if she wants to.
All right, so make a motion that staff be present for item number 92.
Yes, I move that staff be
Second.
present for item number
We
92.
have a
Thank you,
motion from
Councilman
Councilmember Henderson,
Carlson.
second from Councilman Carlson. Yes?
Point of order. So in order to comply with these new rules, I think the motion should be to actually remove this from written staff reports, and because that's where we need to be, is we need to remove this item from written staff reports
And make it
to
deferred.
staff reports so that we comply with these rules.
Okay.
Correct.
So we have a motion and a second that they come in person. We'll take another motion. All in favor? Aye. And then can I get a motion to move this to in person?
So moved.
We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from? Second. Councilmember Carlson, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? And item number 93, we did continue to, is July 18th good, Councilmember Vieira? Or it's
sure.
August 1st, and it's July 18th?
At your,
September 5th is wide open too, if,
Is there a time certain on this?
no, I mean, either early August, late July,
All right, let's do August 5th. We have a motion to continue item number 93 to August 5th?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Second.
we have a motion from Councilman Vieira, second from Councilmember Clendenin, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let me just make sure that is everything. All right, we will be breaking for lunch at noon and coming back at 1:30. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda and the
So moved.
addendum?
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Vieira, all in favor?
Henderson said it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Henderson with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Councilman Vieira, item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'd ask for everybody from Ultimate Medical Academy to come on up. I know we have some folks here. Yeah, why not?
Come on up.
It's a great pleasure to be here, sir, with our friends from Ultimate Medical Academy to celebrate their 30th anniversary. We have here a good number of people, a lot of people here. I'm not going to name everybody by name, but we have Mr. Tom Rometta, who is the president of Ultimate Medical Academy, that again is celebrating 30 years. You know, workforce development is one of the most important issues here in Hillsborough County, in the city of Tampa, and in the Tampa Bay area. We are a growing state, as you've known in the news and we've seen in our own personal experiences. We have more and more people coming to this beautiful state of Florida, and part of that entails more and more people who are needed to fill up spaces that give basic services. Healthcare is obviously one of the greatest services that people in Florida need, especially with anywhere from 1 in 5 to 1 in 4 of our Floridians being senior citizens. And that's where institutions like Ultimate Medical Academy come in. They are a nonprofit accredited higher educated institution with a mission of equipping and empowering learners to excel in healthcare careers. This year in 2024, this Tampa Bay area institution celebrates 30 years of giving back to the public by producing EMTs, nurses, and other healthcare workers here in the Tampa Bay area. They have served more than 18,000 students here in the Tampa Bay area. And in Tampa Bay alone, they have prepared 13,000 healthcare graduates during its 3 decades of operations. And they are serving in all of our local medical institutions, including Tampa General Hospital, Baycare, Bayfront Health, and the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay. So these are institutions that do so much to give back. But again, we need institutions like Ultimate Medical Academy to be able to prepare our workforce. And obviously, workforce development is one of the biggest issues that we deal with here in the city of Tampa. So on behalf of a grateful city for 30 years of hard work, it is my great pleasure and our great pleasure as Tampa City Council to give Ultimate Medical Academy this Tampa City Council commendation. Here you go, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Vieira and members of Tampa City Council. Me and all of UMA team members, 1,000 living in this community, and as you see, many of them here today, are absolutely honored for this recognition. And we are passionate about our mission to equip and empower our students to excel in healthcare careers. The healthcare talent deficit is a growing crisis in this country. There are not enough people entering the profession and not enough people staying in the profession. And there's a deep talent shortage in the allied healthcare fields. These are the essential roles that fill prescriptions, that prepare your medications, that take your vital signs, and when you call for an ambulance, these are the people that come. And these are the roles that UMA specializes in. We are proud to partner with organizations like Tampa General and Crisis Center of Tampa Bay. We have many of these people here today to develop programs that meet the community's healthcare talent needs. Last year, through our work with the Crisis Center, we put 50 new EMTs on the road in Tampa, and some of them are here today. Why don't you guys raise your hand? No, guys. And I'm pleased to say that we are on pace to put another 100 EMTs into the Tampa community this year. And through other partnerships, we are preparing more nursing assistants, x-ray techs, medical assistants, and more to provide care to this community. And our students, well, most of them are adult learners, and many of them are pursuing their healthcare careers while they are working full-time, managing family responsibilities, and juggling all the responsibility of an adult life. So at UMA, in addition to offering healthcare training, we provide wraparound support to give these unique learners a chance to succeed. We are excited to be celebrating 30 years as an institution in this community, and we believe that our impact has just begun. So thank you. We appreciate the recognition and support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councilman Vieira.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we'll just wait a moment. All right, next up, we have the Citizen Budget Advisory Board. They are here to do a 10-minute presentation to council. I'd like to thank all the members that serve on this board. It's a volunteer board, but they work very, very hard, and they do a wonderful job. So, Dr. Newman, will you be leading the group today?
Yes, I will, and Andy Scaglione will be joining me.
Thank you very much.
With comments as well. It's good to see everybody at City Council. I'm Craig Newman. I'm chairman of the Budget Advisory Board, and Andy Scaglione is my co-chair or vice chair. Before I get into the Budget Advisory Board's recommendations, I want to take the time to thank the board members of this committee. They work hard, they're dedicated, engaged to their community, and as well as the city. I appreciate their commitment to the city, giving up their time and to help make this city and their community all it can be. I think that some of the volunteers that work on these different things between this, the different various review boards, different boards, are sometimes, it's forgotten that these are volunteer jobs. We spend between 2.5 and 3 hours working monthly, now every month of the year, to make this a better city and spend wisely. So I want to recommend or say I appreciate all the work they do, and I know you guys do as well. And I also want to thank, since I'm up here, I want to thank Mike Perry, Marty Shelby, Justin Velasquez, of course, our newest person, Hagar Kopinski. Did I blow it? Okay. Kopinski, the budget analyst. She's only been with us a very short time, and she's already made an impact in helping us with putting some of this budget information together. And of course, I can't forget Corinthia, because without our Corinthia, things wouldn't go as smoothly as they do. All right, moving on. Citizen Budget Committee comprised of Jonathan Brill, Sandy Sanchez, Stephanie Pointer, Meredith Freeman, Joe Farrell, of course, Andy Scaglione, and myself. We're going to move on. We have monthly meetings, and during the department, let's see, is it up there? Do you have any of the information, John? All right.
If you want to put it on the overhead, they'll activate it, and we'll all see it.
With our monthly meetings, we meet the heads and administrators of the departments throughout the city. I can go through all the lists of everybody we have on the sheet. But you're saying, John,
Bring up the presentation. There's a
All right.
PowerPoint.
Bring up the presentation.
Yeah, let's give it a moment. It'll come up.
I think we're on, met monthly with department administrators. That would be one, two, the third page. Can you see it?
Did you say, you submitted a PowerPoint, correct?
Yeah.
All right. If T and I can bring it up, they're working on it.
All right. Well, I'll just read it off for right now.
Go ahead, sir. It'll
We
come
meet
up
with the fire
momentarily.
department, the police department, mobility, legal department, city clerk's office, solid waste, water and waterways, development and growth management, housing and land use, neighborhood enhancement, parks and recreation, and purchasing. And there's a few others, I'm certain, but we're not included. Going to the next page, priorities for 2024. I guess, okay. What we have is mobility, transportation, parks and recreation, public safety, affordable housing, attainable housing, rates and fees, and miscellaneous.
Sir, can you put it on the overhead? It seems there's a lag here with the PowerPoint. All right, there we go. And if we can, they'll bring that up on the main screen. There we go.
All right, I should have did that before. But when you look at these priorities, these are very similar to what we had last year, because this is the most important thing we could do, is continue and get these between mobility, parks, recreation, and public safety, affordable housing, rates and fee studies. These are things that have to be accomplished for us to move to the next level. But we did not complete the job, and I'm sure it won't get completed next year. It's a battle, but this is things that we recommend going through our communities, and we think it would be helpful that you know are what we're looking at. All right, now we'll sew this on top. All right. Mobility and transportation. Our top priority for this city must be to protect our pedestrians and our cyclists. The Bay Area ranks this year 8th worst in the nation. And last year was 4th worst in the nation, and the year before that was number 1 in the nation. And the only reason why we are 8th in the nation is because there's been several other metropolitan areas that were worse than we were. So it's not like we've saved more lives, but what we've done in the Bay Area, we just had other cities have lost more lives. And so that's what the issue is. That's got to change. I'll tell you what I noticed yesterday is I was on Cass Street and Newport, and they have dividers in there going east and west, one lane going west, one lane going east, and then you had a curb high enough in there with markers that the cars can't get over that area. These people are protected. I was on my electric bike, and I felt that was the only, I drove it as far down as I could because it made it safer. And Cass is not a very busy street, but that's a good example of what needs to be done within the city. The streetcar and West River Walk are a high priority on our list. Expanding the streetcar will cost about $185 million. The city of Tampa has a $67 million grant to support this effort, which will expire in 2025. So we got to either use it or lose it. There's also an additional $5 million that comes from the CRAs for this expansion. The West River Walk is an estimate cost of $57 million. Fortunately, there is a federal grant to give us approximately $24 million. I would say from what Vic has told us, that this Riverwalk and the expansion of the streetcars was a game changer for the city. And he's pretty excited about it, and so are we. Other considerations, budget considerations, is the transportation, unfunded needs, or I could say instead of unfunded needs, maybe underfunded needs. The paving, it's $42 million a year needed to increase average citywide PCI. I wrote down on there what PCI means for the public, or because I had to look it up. I didn't know what it meant, but it's paving conditions index to reach a satisfactory level. Right now, we're not at a satisfactory level. By utilizing in-house paving resources, this will result in lower cost per mile, which is accredited by doing that, taking that step. Sidewalks. Our current annual budget paves less than a half a mile per year. 1,300 miles of sidewalk gaps are what we have right now. That's at a cost of $1 million for 1 mile. I hope I'm around still when they have finished doing the sidewalks in the city of Tampa. That's how long it's going to take based on what we're doing currently. One of the considerations is paved trails over sidewalks in appropriate areas throughout the city, which may achieve a cost savings. Our bridges are in disrepair. $32 million to bring the city-owned bridges to a good condition. City walls. The Bermuda Boulevard seawall is $20 million. It needs maintenance work done. We're backlogged already, $3.6 million. ADA improvements, citywide curve ramps are needed and move at a faster pace. Parks and recreation. Next topic. Needed facility maintenance. Athletic fields, ADA improvements, pools, small parks, electrical systems, fleet, oh good, thank you. The vehicles for the Parks Department, they got 124 vehicles that are over 15 years old. This was also a big priority last year I brought to the attention through the committee. Prioritize hiring of more teenagers to help in the summer and after school programs, cooperation with youth programs. Provide donate on the website for the Parks and Recreation. We should provide an area in the website for donations. So if people they're signing up their child and they say, well, look, I want to have a child donate money. It's only $80 for the summer. Donate money to put another child out there, or some who can well afford to do that. Some do it. You may even get corporations get involved in it. But if you have it on there, they may use it. If you don't have it, they're not going to use it. All right.
How many more slides do you have, sir?
I would have about five more, 6 more.
Thank you very much.
You want me to talk faster?
Go ahead, yeah, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Y'all have all this information that I've provided for you. Some of this information you've seen it when the departments come in front of you. So I'll move quickly on this. All right, public safety, fire department rescue, firefighters rescue, needs approximately 30 firefighters. There are 54 fighters who are going to be who are in the drop program. From what we were told, they are constantly interviewing for more staff. EMS represents.
Can you add that to the?
Oh, I'm
Thanks.
sorry. I thought they got this straightened out. All right. See, there's my little cheat sheets I put on there. All right. So they're constantly interviewing for more staff. EMS calls are 85% of the calls that come in through the fire rescue. They have ordered 17 new rescue cars last year and 5 engines, but there's a backlog on these engines, and they're quite costly, and there's a lot of customization that Chief Tripp wished to have on these vehicles. And we need to continue to maintain a strong CPI program. For those who don't know, I had to look all this stuff up because it made no sense to me. Critical infrastructure protection. Basically, we're encouraging implementation of a component of an emergency preparedness plans and action steps, thus improving our response time. We also need to update technology and support for improved safety and effectiveness. Among TPD, they are also hiring more officers. Last year, they did 30 new officers, and it's projected they hire another 30 officers this year. Again, there's 50 officers in the drop program. They need cellular phones, plate readers, cameras in critical need areas, vehicle modernization, and larger mental health team to accompany TPD with non-uniform enforcement teams. When it comes to city affordable housing, I'm going to have Andy Scaglione will speak.
Good morning. We want to be laser focused on the 9 CRAs that mandate 30% of the revenues to go to affordable housing, which is approximately about $20 million per year, which is reoccurring. In addition to the restricted balances that we have in the account currently that we're not using, that have not got used. These are coupons that are expiring. And these aren't public coupons of $2. This is millions and millions and millions of dollars that in 9 years, most of them, if we don't use, we're going to be giving half of it back. So with the loss of 3 A players, Nicole, Alicia, and Erica, we feel like the future budget should not be funding affordable housing with general revenue, and we need to stay focused on CRAs, where the money, again, that money is going to go away. The real estate department needs to be aggressive to compete against the private sector. There's only 4% land left in this city, which is, we're using appraisals that I've seen in appraisals. I've seen we're using comparables of 4 years ago. Totally unacceptable. We're never going to buy a piece of dirt by doing that, okay? As Mr. Carlson has said, up in Austin, their only regret was that they didn't buy 3 times the amount of land when they had the opportunity. And as Mr. Miranda, Councilman Miranda has said, you have no plan without the land. And that is so true, being in real estate commercial real estate for 38 years. We have the Tampa Housing Authority, we have Catholic Charities, and we have the state, which is $711 million, plus the very successful $100 million Hometown Heroes, which is a fantastic program. In addition to that, we have the Live Local Act that we can go outside the CRAs. Again, political grandstanding, putting $15 million in out of general revenue is not going to solve a $1.78 billion problem. Okay, we're misleading the public by doing that, and let's under-promise and over-deliver when it comes to affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, coming around the bend. Fees and rate fees. We were asked by City Council for us to look into the fees that we have within the city. We have found that most departments have already started with a fee study or have completed their fee study. But all departments agree they can be raising fees incrementally as opposed to all at once. I give you a couple of examples and how, so you will see the impact this has. We have the BLC case is about new construction in 2,400 square feet structure on an empty lot. Customer cost, application fee $275. Cost of service to the city, $1,524. Last year, 68 cases last year. The total loss of revenues was $84,000. The variance review board case, customer cost for application fee $416.50. Cost of the city to the city $1,100.72. 109 cases last year with an estimated loss of $80,000. Neighborhood empowerment business tax handling fee. Customer cost, application fee is a whopping $10. Cost of the city services, $23.98 cents. At 34,000 cases last year with an estimated loss of $476,000. That's just 3 examples. 3 examples that's going on, and with all the departments making incremental changes, they're all playing it on a 5-year basis, which is good. We need to look into this and continue this and make these changes, so we can. We're not trying to make money, but we don't need to lose money either. Next and last slide. On the miscellaneous, we need additional neighborhood enhancement staff to focus on the coverage in our city in the evening. Also, see here on September 30th, 2023, the Tree Trust Fund balances. All those balances add up to $3.9 million, money just sitting there that for trees. We need to find ways of utilizing that money. And whether, I'm not sure what can be done, that's something that you can look at, but I think there's just having money sitting there doing nothing and trees aren't getting put into the ground, something else needs to be done. That completes my report. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Councilmember Condon?
Yeah, a couple of things. One, I'm glad you highlighted the need for the road infrastructures. As you probably have saw in a previous meeting, I've requested, we tripled the budget last year for 24, and next year we're looking at, I've asked the administration and the mayor to include 45 million. So I know you guys identified a need of 42. I've asked for 45 million in the 25 budget. So hopefully that the mayor will come through in that budget to fulfill that need. I have a question though, because I've asked about our bridges numerous times, and I've been told by staff that all of our bridges are rated as in good condition. What did you find that you highlighted that?
Well, this is when we had, I believe it was Vic came to speak with us, and these are on his presentation. He presented, these are the things that are underfunded and we're having issues with this. And the last thing in the world we need is a bridge to fall.
Yeah, and I've specifically asked about that, so I'll have to get with staff to find out where the discrepancy is between what I'd previously been told. Maybe they've become aware of something since the briefing that I'd gotten, because I'd specifically called that out. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. And the only other thing, great report, thank you for being so comprehensive, is the only thing I would say on those fees, it's not a loss of revenue, it's a cost to our taxpayers. That's
true.
The person who owns homes in the South are subsidizing the cost of providing that service for other people. So they're subsidizing builders, they're subsidizing people that are requesting from the city. So I think that's how we need to look at those, recouping those fees. Again, not a loss of revenue, it's a subsidy that they're receiving because it costs us more than the service we're providing.
Thank you, well put.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Vieira, Councilman Carlson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Wanted to thank all of y'all for all the work that you do, and I wanted to give a shout out to my appointee, Joe Farrell, who has been on there for 7 years and always done a great job. And Joe's a great guy, and yeah, it's just a really good guy, and you've always done a great job. You know, one of the things I wanted to highlight that y'all mentioned is grants, federal, state grants, something that is, we always think about either budget cuts or tax increases, but we have our tax dollars that we spend through income taxes and different taxes on the federal level. And I know that we have a great friend to the city of Tampa, obviously, in Congresswoman Kathy Castor. Now we have in District 15 for the north side of Tampa, Laura Lee. And I know we're going to continue to work in getting dollars here to Tampa. I saw that Congresswoman Castor recently got for Tampa Police Department $1 million for electric vehicles for Tampa Police Department. So obviously something that's great. And then our state partners as well. Now with State Senator Jay Collins, State Representative Fentress Driscoll, and so many others, working together, Danny Alvarez and others. Well, actually, no, Danny's not in the city, but whatever. But he's county. But for the city of Tampa, the big issue, and Craig, you and I had a good long discussion on this last week, is obviously fire and police. You talked about some of the core issues that we have here in the city of Tampa. And, we've been pushing the public safety master plan to try to identify what our deficits are in the city of Tampa for both police and fire, so that we can have a very frank discussion with taxpayers on what it is they want in terms of services for public safety and what it's going to take to pay for those ultimately through tax dollars or otherwise. That's something that's very, very important. I look at Tampa Fire Rescue, and we have, in my opinion, deficits all over the city of Tampa. New and North Tampa, we've talked about that. West Tampa, growing West Tampa, Station 9. Hopefully we can get the fleet maintenance out of there, expand Station 9, downtown, South Tampa, East Tampa, etc. Big deficits all over Tampa. Tampa Police Department, obviously, we're a city that over the last few years spoke very, very loud that we want to fund the police, we support our cops, and we want to make sure that all parts of the city of Tampa have proper coverage whenever it comes to police officers. But again, very, very important issues, but we have to talk about how are we going to fund these basic needs. You know, you have revenue issues. You talked about fees. Obviously, that's part of the solution. We've got to make sure that our fees keep up. Impact fees, people talk about. I'm all for those, but I don't want to oversell them. And that's the problem, is a lot of people talk about it, and I don't mean anybody up here. I mean, just in general, a lot of people think about impact fees, and they don't do quite what a lot of people think they're going to do. Again, I'm for them, but it's not quite. You know, the millage, obviously, last year, I think that I won't get into that. I think the well's been kind of poisoned there, in my opinion, a little bit with the millage right now, and that's just the way that it is. You know, CRAs, talking about capping downtown CRA, we had a vote on that a couple of months ago. That's something that's obviously not going to happen. But if it was done right, in terms of the downtown CRA not spending tons and tons of money, and then looking at capping it, we could have benefited from that. Now we got to wait till 2027, I think it is, to even get any benefit from that. So we have to have a frank talk with the public on these revenue issues. But I really wanted to thank all of y'all here, Craig, I saw Sandy, obviously, Andy, Stephanie, and any others who are here from your board for everything that you do, because we pay you guys about $30 an hour. I'm joking, we don't pay y'all anything. But y'all do a great job, so thank y'all very much.
Councilmember Carlson, Councilmember Miranda, Councilmember Henderson.
Yeah, thank you to all of you on the committee for all the hard work you do, and for the thorough analysis. You, just to summarize some of the slides you said TPD is hiring 30 new positions plus 50 people are in drop, and somewhere it's a new position is somewhere between 100 and 200,000 a year. We need more tech. We need mental health training, and that's just a summary. Tampa Fire Rescue, we need 30 new positions, plus we have 54 people in drop, and we know we need technology terribly. Paving, you said we need $42 million a year minimum. Mobility has told us, I think in the past, that we need 2.1 billion total. I get more complaints about paving than anything else. The second maybe is sidewalks. One of the reasons why pedestrians get hit is we don't have sidewalks throughout the city. In neighborhoods, and people are walking down the streets there. And you said we need 1.3 billion. Last I looked, I think we're spending 600,000 or 800,000 a year. We need 20 million for seawalls, $32 million for bridges, and that's just maybe per year. So we know from last year that the public does not want an ad valorem tax increase. We also know that the public doesn't like us bonding, and I'm scared of the bonding that we've gotten to now. A few months ago, the CFO told us that we're at about 41% of capacity. Since then, we've added several hundred million in bonding. My first question is, do you all know the percentage that we're at now? Has anybody told you that? It sounds like we're probably up around 60-70% of capacity. If the city was advising an individual who was buying a home, they would tell them not to go into that much debt. Number two is that because people don't want new taxes, and they also don't want us to bond, we're going to have to make trade-offs. And so if you only have money for TPD, TFR, paving, sidewalks, seawalls, and bridges, how are we going to fund $185 million for a small segment of the streetcar? And how are we going to fund the proposal that's on today's agenda, which is 57 or so million for the West Riverwalk? The 57 million you have to make net of the 24 million from the federal government, but it doesn't include interest, which takes it up close to 90 million or so, 80, 90 million. How can we justify to the public that we're not fixing their roads, we're not keeping them safe, we're not keeping pedestrians safe by building sidewalks or crosswalks, but we have the money, and this is not CRA money, this is general fund money, for a small segment of the Riverwalk that's very expensive, and also a small segment of the streetcar that's very expensive.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Miranda, Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all your comments, you and Mr. Scaglione and others that have spoken. You know, you sit back and you watch what's happening in this city, and this city is not brand new. I mean, it has sections that are newer than others. No city, including this one, that I know of that's doing well, doesn't have more needs than it has money. And when you start to look at that, you start to realize that it's not easy to do what you do. Not easy to be the public paying the taxes. It's not easy being elected officials. Not easy in any way you think of. So you try to do the best you can with what you have, just like any household. So it's incumbent upon us to understand that taxes are there for a reason, and the millage is there for a reason. That doesn't mean you have to increase the millage. You just have to stop giving things away. And I'm not here, somebody can ask for something and they receive it, God bless them. So then you want to criticize what you gave away. Well, the public didn't give it away, the elected officials gave it away. So these are the things that you have to look at. So you have to understand your priorities, and you've done a pretty good job of explaining that. So which was more important? However, all that being said, how did we get here today? Was it by the government without the CRAs? I would say absolutely not. Because if there was no CRA, you wouldn't have what the progress that you have in West Tampa, you wouldn't have the progress you have in downtown, you wouldn't have the progress that you have in Central Side, you wouldn't have progress in East Tampa, anywhere you want to look at. So they're good for a reason. But doing that reason, you're going to have to hold back and suffer. However, no one's ever told the public that once it is out and finished, you're going to have a higher base because the value is going to be better in all the CRAs. You're going to have a much better place to live, a much better place to play, a nicer clinic, a city, a nicer atmosphere. Everything's going to be copacetic, really nice. And then what happens? All that up over the base goes where? Into the general fund. So I know what it is not to have much. I know what it is to have much more than I thought I could ever have. And the reason I'm saying this, because everybody's in the same boat. No matter who you are, what income you have, what color you are, what race you are, all of us are in the same boat. And when that boat starts to shake and starts getting holes in it, all of us are going to sink together, no matter who you are. So you got to be cognizant of the fact of what you're doing at the time you do it. Bonding is good, but it's also terrible when you have to pay the interest. So when you look at those factors and you have a hardship, now we're charging in your bill that comes once a month, for what? For the pipes program, because as hard as it is, at $6 each, you're actually building something of $2.9 billion with 53% of it up front. If you didn't do that and you had borrowed all that money, you don't get half the pipes program because the other half was interest. And you never have the money to spend the interest on. It's gone to somebody else. So what I'm saying, just try to be the best you can, no matter where you're at, whether you're here in government or some other public business, and try to be cognizant of the fact of your neighborhood. And things have changed a lot. Now, in my office, I can't call somebody that calls us and say that the neighborhood is going, that this individual is doing this and this, and calls code enforcement, because by law, I got to tell them who called us to call. So you know what I say? I take the heat. I said, the office of Charlie Miranda did it. So that's all I can say. We're going forward. We're doing well. Just hold on, because when the bus gets to the station, it's going to be full of good surprises. Thank you.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good morning. Thank you so much for the Budget Advisory Committee for the work that you do. I don't want to repeat what was already said up here. I will address the, I'm glad to see that you put the increase in summer youth employment on there. That's really important, and even considering partnerships. I just was in a conversation with Bermetra Simmons, the CEO of the Tampa Bay Partnership, about that very thing. In order for us to build a strong workforce, we need to provide our youth with opportunities and experiences so they can see that. And the city cannot be the sole provider of summer youth employment. We just can't do that. We can't sustain that, especially with, the increase of students having to work to help to support their families. So partnership with local businesses is very important. And also expands opportunity. It gives them extra skill sets and experience. And especially considering the fact that, coming out of high school, they have to have workforce credit experience, before graduating. That's, really important. So I'm glad to see that that was addressed by the committee. Also, there's been conversations about bonds, and I want to chime in on that a little bit. We can't be afraid of bonding. Bonding is not unusual in city government just across the nation. We bond less than a lot of other major metropolitan cities of the same size population. It is a primary source of funding for many projects that allow the city to keep pace with expanding populations and replacing aging infrastructure and improvement. And I know that we've had these conversations, when it came up, about Fair Oaks. And what I will say, just from a simplicity standpoint, and I got this from my high school teacher, shout out to Renee Bullness, mathematics teacher. He said that his son, after he graduated from Florida State, he said, "Dad, I want to go back to school. I want to go to law school." And Mr. Bullness' response was, "The Renee Bullness Scholarship Fund has ended." So my point is, in other words, you got to pay for that. So in bonding, our kids and the future generations of Tampa have to pay for some of the things that we set in place today. That's just the bottom line, because things are expensive, and we do need to share that cost, down the generational span, simply because they are going to be utilizing these same facilities and infrastructures. So that's just a teachable moment, and I wanted to chime in on bonds. And also, there's not this huge outcry with the public being against bonding. There is not a huge outcry. I will repeat that. Please do not interrupt me when I'm speaking. Chair, please make note of comments coming from the, thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I thank you so much. Nevertheless, if there is an outcry, yes, there are going to be two sides to every situation, but there is not this major outcry when it comes to bonding. Bonding helps us move projects forward with new infrastructure. We can't do it alone. If we shouldered all of the burden right now, we won't be able to accomplish the things that we accomplish. We won't be able to keep the staff that we have. Our budget is $2 billion, and we actually do use it. So if we decide to do something new, the funding has to come from somewhere. And in particular, because we're going to have something coming up today that talks about bonding, we're going to be sharing with you that we're not bonding at all. We're applying for grants. We're getting help from our congresswoman to support bonding, to avoid less bonding. So it's not the do-all, end-all to bond every single thing and every single dollar, but it is something that we do need to take into consideration when major projects come before us, and I will do that when I make my decisions. Thank you, Chair, for your time.
All right. Councilmember Hurtak, you didn't speak, and then Councilmember.
I just want to say thank you for your presentation and for the time that you put into this. And all I'm going to ask is that when the budget is presented on July 18th, that if you or any of the members of your committee have anything, any thoughts on it or any other things that you would let us know. There's only, I know during your research, you're looking at what you know, or what you're being given from different departments and your suggestions for the budget. Some of those may line up with the budget and some of them may not. So I would love to know what areas you would like to tweak if you were given that opportunity once you have a chance to see the budget.
Thank you. Councilmember Clendenin.
Two things. One, not surprising, I got a memo from the head of mobility reference the bridges discussion. So for full disclosure, it's my understanding that, from what I understand from head of mobility, that all of the bridges in the city of Tampa are considered in good condition. Structurally, they're all sound. That the improvements that they're looking for is electrical and hydraulic, not structural issues. So nobody has to worry about driving across bridges in the city of Tampa. So they are all structurally good. Secondly, I'm going to chime in on this bonding issue because I am passionate about this as well. There's appropriate times to bond and there's not appropriate times to bond. In my opinion, and I think people who are more fiscally affluent than I am. They call it generational financing. There's infrastructure that is going to be utilized across multiple generations, and that some of those issues are some of like our fire station issues, some of our road. Obviously, what we're doing with pipes, that's a very large project that's going to be used for 100 years. So it's appropriate to bond those types of issues. And then there's others that are not. That's why I think we have to look at every project very specific of what the impact it is to the community today versus the community tomorrow and who's going to pay for it. It's one of the reasons when we talk about, pay as you go and the millage increase last year, that's, I recognize that we had for the wants and the needs of the city, we had a deficit from what we needed. And that's one of the reasons why we supported, and I think Councilman Vera has said it many, many times, just like we asked for small because we know we have a deficit in our fire stations. We know we have a need of replacing our police headquarters. That's going to be coming up. We have roads that need to be improved. There's a lot of these infrastructure things that need to be done, and hopefully with the interest rates the way they are, pay as you go is definitely the way to go on most of these things. But it's also one of the reasons we have an agenda item today coming up and the committee has supported the Riverwalk expansion. And because of cost escalations, it's going to exceed what we have for pay-as-you-go. So there's going to have to be some type of gap to be able to fulfill the differences between what we can pay for and what it's going to cost. Now that we have to make a determination of how much of that is we're going to borrow versus how much we're going to pay. I'm going to propose during this discussion that the CRA kicks in, the West Tampa CRA kicks in to pay for a portion of this and not have to bond as much as we had. So that's so that reference to Finance Committee, I'm going to try to displace some of that potential borrowing with CRA money, which I think is appropriate for the discussions that you guys have had. And so I'm going to kick that out, and we'll have that further discussion later on today.
All right, thank you very much.
Go ahead. Two things that we'd like to respond, and they come up every meeting that we speak. One is bonding, and the other one is CIT. The bonding, we are not against bonding, but less is best. Debt is not your friend.
Ma'am, I can't hear, please, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that's number one on bonding. Number two, on the CIT, it comes up for the last year, every meeting, how crucial that is. But in our last meeting, something came up that we think needs to be talked about, and that's that when you look at the city, at what they bring in revenue, and you look at what we're getting proposed, which I think is 21.8%, if I'm not mistaken, based on the presentation that was made the other day at 11 o'clock, I will guarantee you that we bring in more than what what comes into the city coffers is a lot more than 21.8%, okay? So that needs to be looked at. Number two, I think there was on the screenshot, there was 21% going to sports teams. We have a lot of needs in this city, okay? And at 21%, when you're looking at $200 million a year, that's $42 million a year, okay? In addition to that, and I understand we're responsible for keeping up the facilities, but we do have tourist tax money that nobody talks about. That each cent, we have 6 cents, and each one of those bring in $10 million apiece. So anyway, that's just to let you know, it doesn't. We discuss this because we know that CIT is if we're not without CIT, we have major problems, and the bonding issue that debt is not your friend. So
Thank
in
you
hard
very
times.
much. Thank you. All right. Thank you for the
Thank you,
presentation.
City Council, we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to go to public comment. My first speakers are James Wright, followed by Albert Cook and Elio Mueller. Elio left, okay. Is James Wright here?
Yes, he's here.
All right. Yeah. We have James Wright, Albert Cook, and then Cynthia Maloney. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Please state your name, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning,
Good morning, sir.
Mr.
state your-
Chair and
Please state your name, sir.
members.
State your name first.
My name is James Wright, longtime representative of the Yellow Jackets Little League. I thank you for this opportunity to speak this morning. And please know that our league was born from the ashes of the riot of 1967, and today we still stand. It is true that we had no buildings and one field, and the boys team used the river's edge as the toilet. In those days, we didn't refer to the toilet as a restroom as we do nowadays. The girls later on came, but the girls never had any place that they call a toilet or a restroom. As for the coaches and myself, we prayed to the Lord that we didn't have to go somewhere, because if we did, we were in deep trouble. But in 1993, the school system had to relocate our fields. At that time, we had 2 fields. In presenting to the school board, Mr. Randall and Dr. Sickles, both from the school system, put forth their plan for relocating our fields. They stated to the school board that it was in good faith, their plan. Now we, as a league, take the words good faith to mean doing the right thing. Now, later, they also recognize our league's commitment to the community and the positive effect that it made. And they said to the school board and our president that they wanted to help us to continue our efforts in the community with a first-class building in good faith. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, sir.
And it's good faith that I come here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, next speaker is Albert Cook, followed by Cynthia Maloney. Good morning, Mr. Cook. Please state your name.
I'm here to speak about Shot Spotter.
All right, please state your name, sir.
Yeah, my name is Albert Cook. I'm a resident of East Tampa since 2002. Over the course of my 22-year East Tampa residency, I have witnessed both neighborhood improvement and setbacks. The fluctuation between economic prosperity and decline has been notable, with real estate values soaring, as well as equity diminishing economic downturns. While these aspects are beyond our direct control as part of the American life cycle, one crucial factor that we can influence is the level of crime within our community. It is evident that both major and minor crimes have historically been more prevalent in East Tampa compared to other areas of our city, significantly impacting our overall quality of life. The Tampa Police Department has been commendable in their efforts to combat crime, and the effectiveness of technologies like ShotSpotter cannot be overstated in their success. Research has found that ShotSpotter technology greatly enhances police efficiency and contributes to the resolution of major criminal activities. The importance of ensuring resident safety transcends monetary value. And given the opportunity to utilize technology for quicker emergency responses, it is imperative that we seize it. Let us leverage ShotSpotter as a contemporary technological tool to bolster the safety of our residents. Currently, East Tampa is experiencing a period of growth characterized by incoming residents and new construction projects. The influx of young families into our neighborhood bring a sense of vitality and promise for a bright future. Sustaining this positive momentum necessitates a continued focus on crime suppression and utilization of ShotSpotter technology for its maintenance. I firmly believe that ShotSpotter is an indispensable component of our neighborhood safety infrastructure, directly influencing our favorable economic development and overall well-being. The preservation of a safe environment in East Tampa is essential, making ShotSpotter a crucial element in the creation of a promising future for our community. I implore the board to say yes to ShotSpotter.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir. Next is Cynthia Maloney, followed by Stephanie Pointer.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, no. 3 minutes on general public comment, please. That's only for, the speaker waiver forms are only for public hearings. Okay, thank you.
Please state your name. Good morning.
Cynthia Maloney. I'm the secretary of the North Hyde Park Civic Association, and I'm a member of the CAC for West Tampa. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I'm here to speak about some concerns we have for 1500 West Cass Street. Our board met last night. We all agree that we have concerns about the item, not because of their ability to sell alcohol, but to sell it outside.
I'm sorry, is this is related to a public hearing?
Yes.
What item number is this?
Why did you call me?
Oh, because you filled out a speaker card. That's for general public comment.
Oh.
Yeah, no, you're able to speak at the public hearing. later
Sure,
in the
that'll
day.
be called up for a second reading.
Should I sit down?
And yes, take your speaker form with, ma'am, take your speaker form
I
with,
was getting out of here early.
if you can.
Yes.
Take your speaker waiver form with you, because then that is useful if those people are present.
That's when I get to use it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is Stephanie Pointer, followed by Robin Lockett.
Can we reset the clock, please?
Good morning, ma'am. Please state your name.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I have a problem with bonding because I have a problem with debt. And one of the reasons why I have a problem with the bonding debt is that CIT that brings in all that money has not been approved. So we cannot spend money that we don't have yet. You can't go spending money that we don't have. We have no paycheck until that passes in November. So when we go bonding stuff, I have a problem with it. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. The Riverwalk, let's talk about that for a second, $57 million. Oh my goodness. That is $4 million more than the millage increase would have been last year. We don't have any money for affordable housing, but by God, we got money for a freaking sidewalk on a river. It's a legacy project. Here we go again. Again, we're going to spend $57 million and bond part of it, and we don't know that the CIT is going to be around. We do not know that. The shot spotter, let me tell you something. It's not my neighborhood. It's not my community. It's not my right to have an opinion about that. But it is my right and my opinion that it should not be taken up today. It should be put on a future agenda. You have no accountability and transparency. You are not being accountable and transparent. Let me tell you something. When you've got folks in this crowd who came here today to talk about Shot Spotter, my question is, how many people have been out pushing this on the positive side, and none of the folks who don't like it are in the know about it? That's what number one. Okay, this Soho Storm project, oh my Lord have mercy. I thought, what are these people complaining about? They want to get rid of the flooding. Oh my goodness. These people want to take down hundreds of trees. Whit Reamer will have no problem planting all the trees because everything that they take out in Parkland Estates will have to be remediated. So what are you going to do with that? Number 49, the reason why I gave you this, number 49 is really, really important to me. Why are we spending $88,000 to study affordable housing when you can't even tell me how many units are in the process of being built in this city? I know how many is being built south of Gandy. You know why? Because I did the work. Carol Ann Bennett did the work. We've come up with those numbers. But nobody in this city can tell me how many units are in process. And of those units, we have thousands that are not finished yet. Almost 3,000. Look down there at the very bottom, this incomplete projects, 2,851 units south of Gandy. I don't know where the cars are going to go. And none of them are going to meet McDill's needs. Okay, and last but not least, I want you to ponder this. How can a developer file litigation against this city of Tampa when they have 3 affordable housing projects in the queue with the city of Tampa? We do business with people who are going to sue us.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Next up is Robin Lockett, followed by Noreen Copeland Miller. Good morning, ma'am. Please state your name.
It's so funny you say my name. Robin Lockett. Council, I'm here today in regards to item number 92. I've said before that even in the resolution 568 and 344, that the Yellow Jackets need to be included in that to make them whole again. The Yellow Jackets was moved from West Tampa to Indiana, across the street from a graveyard, and that's what the field looks like. Promises were made. They were promised they were going to be made whole. Coach Wright came down here. I support it. There should be a building on that property. He's been put in the Yellow Jackets has been put in a trailer. The concession stand is not what they had. They have issues with the field. The lights don't work. He's told me that he's called, and at one time they were taking his phone call, returning his phone calls, and they stopped. Is this what how the city should treat a man of his stature, a well-respected man? So, and he's not asking for anything other than to be made whole again, the field to be made whole again. I spoke with Leroy Moore, and Leroy Moore said that it's his recollection that he was supposed to get improvements to the new fields to equal or better the amenities that he had in West Tampa. So Housing Authority is a part of it, and he supports and remembers what was said. So this has been, that grand opening was 5 years ago. 5 years ago. So somebody promised it, and it was supposed to be in the budget. I went to the grand opening. But the sad thing about it is when all these meetings were happening, or the few meetings that did happen, I felt in my spirit that all the things that they were saying was not going to come true. And that's where we are today. So it is going to be rallying to push this, because right is right and wrong is wrong. They should be made whole again, because they were displaced for new development. Wasn't shut down because the projects were, or West Tampa housing was closed down, because guess what? All the kids didn't come from West Tampa housing projects. They came from other areas. Some of them lived in homes. Some of them walked to the field. So in this gesture, right is right and wrong is wrong. And we want to see the Yellow Jackets being made whole again. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Next up is Noreen Copeland-Miller, followed by Keela McCaskill. Good morning, ma'am. Please
Good
state your
morning.
name.
I want to say, I'm going to read this, especially since we've been celebrating Juneteenth. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it sound loud as the rolling sea. And I'm here this morning because we got to lift our voice and continue to lift our voice, especially in this city as a Black person of color. Let me just say that. And I'm here this morning because I know implementation is everything, and I'm sure you guys put a lot into the process today with us signing those cards as soon as we get off the elevator. I just want to say that I think that today was not the day to do that. At least give us a warning. Maybe you did and I missed it. I don't know. But I was caught off guard getting out, trying to fill out that card. And then I'm coming up now when I was not prepared to come up right now. But since you called me, if I would have not came up, I'm wondering, would I not be able to speak? So I said, let you get up now if you got anything to say, because it's clear. And I know control is everything, and I know you all want to fine tune this process. I can appreciate that, but let's do a better job with implementation, because I don't like to be blindsided. And I'm sure you guys don't either. And that's how I feel this morning. But I'm going to move on, because I'm here today because I want to personally thank my representative, Councilwoman Henderson, for the article that I read out of the paper. I just found that to be, because you guys know the Friends of Bama Heights Memorial Park Cemetery. And the Cemetery Society and all of us, we have a coalition, cemetery coalition, that believe in a voice for those that cannot speak anymore. And I know all of us have someone that have family members with that. But it took a lot of courage, Councilwoman Henderson, for you to do what I read out of the paper. Thank you so much, for it is, the truth will set us free, and that's why we got to continue to lift our voice. We got to continue to sing the song till they learn the words, because it's clear the words are not being learned here. It's a lot going on that the public don't know about, but I thank God our representatives are keeping us informed, some of you. So I want to thank you for that. My other part, I'm here talking about shots fired technology. I'm a senior citizen in East Tampa. I stood up for District 3 to be built because I want to be saved like any other community. Public safety is very important to me, so I hope you all support that shots fired technology. And last but not least, the Yellow Jackets little field, league field, which I played softball. My grandkids played softball and baseball. The Yellow Jacks being moved over we're off of North Boulevard, certainly I witnessed that it's not what it used to be. The mere fact that Mr. Wright came down here today speaks in volumes. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So we must make them whole. We must do the right thing when it comes to people of color, because once again, we're erasing our history.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, next up, we have Keela McCaskill, followed by Jim Schimberg. Good morning, ma'am. Please state
Good
your
morning.
name.
You know, it's so disappointing to be, my name is Keela McCaskill.
Yes, ma'am.
It's so disappointing to be here again in 2024 regarding the same matter, but I want to say to you, City Council, this time having so many people leaving the city, particularly those that's addressing our main concerns here in the city, particularly marginalized community. And then today to find out Keon Henderson is added to the list of the other people that's already left. How disappointing. But it's somewhat your fault. Because here we are after 2 years of a reset, when we, I know I did, asked you specifically, damn near begged you, to not listen just to those experts that you brought in. Listen to the taxpayers. Listen to the voters. Listen to the people that's lived, particularly in the CRA, that's lived in this area, lived in this city for years, but you didn't do that. So now here we are. Because of that, these experts, they got up and they actually left. And long after they leave, we're still here trying to pick up the scraps, pick up the pieces of what they left and figure out how we move this along. But we've seen this movie play before. We've seen what it does when they leave. We've seen what it looks like when they're gone. But this movie has a twist to it because it kind of reminds me of a situation that I recently faced where it seems like the system, which is the administration and or the law, is more concerned on one side of the equation. Nevertheless, because of the people, the skills they possess, the professionalism, who they belong to, who they are, they can they can still be good people, whole people, and walk away even from a corrupt system and still stand tall on their feet. So they did. Like me, thank God I didn't have to compromise who I am. I didn't have to take a plea. I didn't have to do any of that. I'm still standing, and so are they. So I want to thank them publicly for all that they've done. Kayon, Elise, Nicole, Erica, and even C.T. Harris, all of you for the commitment that you had in this city. And what happens to us next, City Council, is on you. What we need is somebody that can, they've already set a bar. They set that bar high. What we need now is people that can come in and fill in those shoes and carry on. People that will come in and be in favor of progress. Those people set some great things in place, and I don't know how you'll be able to accomplish any of that, including your housing objectives, economic. Nothing will happen if we don't continue to have people that can fill those shoes. So what happens to us next is on you. We're looking at you. We're expecting you to be the leaders that you're supposed to be. Don't hire, they don't exist in the city of Tampa right now, in this staff. They don't exist. So hire the right people, the right fit to carry on from these people in the bar that they've set. One more thing. In all due respect, when you address me for speaking in the back, and you don't address legal and whoever else is having conversations in public, whatever they're doing over there, make sure you address that sound too. I'm not the only voice in here making the sound. So please be fair and make sure you address all noise when you hear it, not just me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. All right, Jim Schimberg, followed by Johnny Johnson.
Good morning, Council. Excuse me, Jim Schimberg, Cuban Law Group. I'm here on item 74, which is a public hearing that will not be able to move forward, and our client is the developer, and the project was appealed by adjacent property owners, scheduled for a hearing today. They misnoticed. They then sent a memo in saying, please reschedule it without a date. And I'm asking as a matter of fairness for you to schedule that as soon as possible because our client's trying to proceed with the project. We finally got everything in compliance. We got the BLC approval. We got appealed. They misnoticed. Now it's going to get continuously delayed. So I'm asking as a matter of fairness for you to schedule that as soon as possible. I know you have a new rule in place that you try to limit those hearings per agenda. But I would ask for you to do it the earliest possible date, and I would ask for August 1st if possible. I'd rather have you just dismiss their appeal. I don't know if you can do that, but I would like you to reschedule that as soon as possible.
Thank you very much, sir. We can bring that up during new business, correct?
Like you could bring it up after agenda public comment, because it is something, actually what we did was council made the motion to remove it from the agenda, but it does need to be reset, so it's going to have to come back anyway.
Public comment. Thank
Okay.
you very much. Thank you very
Do I
much,
need to
sir.
stay for that or not? Or,
No, you don't have to.
okay, thank
Thank
you.
you very much, sir. Mr. Johnny Johnson, followed by Mr. Stephen McElhaney. Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Good morning, Johnny Johnson. I come to council this morning for two things. One is to speak on the Yellow Jackets. I'm forever grateful to Coach Wright. I started playing the Yellow Jackets at 9 years old. Made it all the way up through the system right there on Spruce Street, which they was relocated. I never understood the relocation when you was going to bring kids into the community and already have a stable park there that would have generated our park, our league, to match other leagues that I came up watching going into other neighborhoods like Palmerseal, Citrus Park, and Interbay, where it was full of people and viralized. And to move the Yellow Jackets over to north, over off of Boulevard, over by the graveyard, that was very disappointing. Another move, another landmark, another point to erase history. I have nowhere to show my kids where I played baseball for over 12 years, coming honing my skills. Coach Wright had done a phenomenal job. He had an everlasting impact on my life, my family life, and a lot of friends. My brother played for the Yellow Jackets and made one game to the Little Leagues World Series. They did not make that field whole. It was a plaque on Spruce Street where it showed every team player that was on that team that made it. I traveled all over the state of Florida to watch them achieve almost their ultimate goal. It was to make it to the Little League World Series. The portal over there at the new field where y'all relocated is unacceptable. Everything about that is unacceptable. So do the right thing. Make it so that we can have something to be proud about. Don't just totally wipe us out like a tsunami. Another thing, I stand up here to speak as a parent and a family that done lost several to gun violence. The shot spotters, I truly believe is one thing in a position to show that the community, the city care about what happened to its constituents and citizens. It could be a life-saving incident. Imagine the shooting that's going on where I live at in East Tampa and have no idea where the shot is coming from or which direction to go to when people are frantic and calling and hysterical. So I'm here in favor of the shot spotter to stay in place for safety reasons. Again, you cannot put a price on no one's life and our money. We sending money overseas to these wars and stuff to save lives. Let's try to save lives here at home. And again, let's save and do the right thing about the Yellow Jackets. The Yellow Jackets are a legend in this city, its community, and they deserve to be a continuous staple and landmark that we can be proud of in this city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Steve McElhaney, followed by Ms. Valerie Bullock.
Good morning, Council. Steve McElhaney. I sent a letter to you all regarding the Jackson House and the Accardi Properties LLC and their involvement with the Jackson House. And I wanted to state in here that there's apparently some misinformation going around that somehow the Accardis are holding this project up, and that simply is not true. The Accardis have an agreement with the Jackson House Foundation to move forward, and I want to show you briefly. The Accardis own everything that's in red, and the Jackson House is there. So they own all of the surrounding properties, and they've agreed to provide access and stabilization as well as staging for the Jackson House, so that whatever the holdup is, we're not objecting to it, but I want to make sure that it goes on record that the Accardis are not part of that problem. And second, next week you're going to be taking up an ordinance regarding Ybor City parking. I sent you an email regarding that, and it would seem to me that you would want data and information regarding security before you make the obligation be transferred over to private property owners. And there were several different requests for motions. One was that TPD come forward with a safety and security plan before you take final action on that proposed ordinance. The second was to investigate the eligibility of CRA funds to relieve some of the general fund expenses regarding safety and security. And according to the city, you have to adopt a plan for safety and security before you can use the CRA monies. And thirdly, this is an area-wide problem, not an individual property owner's problem. And the issue should be spread out among, in terms of safety and security, the entire area and not individual properties. The coordination of that would, typically, you could have different security companies providing services on different lots. And it makes no sense to have that not be coordinated by TPD. The issue regarding paid versus unpaid parking lots makes no sense either. Making paid parking lots provide the security when unpaid parking lots, there's no data that's been submitted that they are any more or less responsible for what happens on those lots. So we're respectfully requesting that you make a motion that TPD provide and bring us a safety and security plan forward before you take any action on this other ordinance coming up, and that the investigation be initiated regarding the eligibility of CRA funds, which, as you know, would relieve a lot of the expense that's being transferred over to the general fund. I respectfully request your support, and with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is Ms. Valerie Bullock, followed by Gameen Zacharias.
Hi, I'm Valerie Bullock. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
I want to come down here and talk about all the beautification and the tourist traps that the city of Tampa are planning on building, especially extending the Riverwalk sidewalk. On my way getting out my car, I passed by homeless people. They were sleeping out there. In some kind of way, we forgot about the people, the citizens of Tampa, the poor people, the black people, the people that are less fortunate. We have a housing problem right now. You have 3, 4, and 5 generations staying together. Everybody's not going to make $100,000 a year. Everybody's not going to college or be a part of the sorority team. The poor is going to always be with us. But unfortunately, what I see, the city of Tampa, they'll dole out millions to developers. But when it comes to people who stay here and who pay taxes, and this is where they live at, nothing happened. Everybody throw around the affordable housing term. That's just to get us looking over there while they spend the money over here. The mayor was supposed to build 10,000 affordable houses. I done drove all over Tampa. I haven't seen them. Now we got other people say they building affordable houses. Affordable for who? If you make $40,000 a year, that $450,000 house they're building in East Tampa, it's not for you. And we don't have no places for the people to go when it comes to rent. You can call the city rent hotline. It open up 8 o'clock Monday. 8:02, it's no longer taking calls. They say it's full. Metropolitan Ministry is full. The Salvation Army is full. We're going to make money off the tourists if they come here because they got to eat, they got to sleep, and they're going to want to play. So we don't have to cater to the tourists. Let's take care of our own people, and then we'll worry about the tourists later. That Riverwalk sidewalk, that's not important, but in East Tampa, we don't have no sidewalks. I wrote East Tampa CRA in 2020, and I sent an email to the city of Tampa. They sent me back, gave me a ticket number. We'll get to it when we get to it, if you still be alive. Well, goddamn, well, I'm going to have to do my own sidewalk then. And another thing I want to talk about is that shot spotter. I'm going to say what I said the last time I was here. It's real easy to get the guns off the street. When the people leave them in their car, it's a law in the books, arrest them. I bet you they'll practice gun safety then. That spot shooter, that's no good. I had a nephew, he got killed December the 7th, 2007 in USF area. He got executed going in the back door of his apartment. So the spot shooter, that's not going to save everybody, and it's a waste of money.
Thank you very much.
And we put it in East Tampa, let's put it all over the city of Tampa.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Next up is Gamin Zacharias, followed by Yvonne Ferrelli. Good morning, ma'am. Please state your name.
Hi, my name is Gammon Zacharias. My family has lived in Parkland Estates for 25 years. I'm co-president of the Garden Club. And one of the things I love most about our neighborhood is our incredible tree canopy. We have hundreds of mature shade trees, mostly live oaks, hickory, sweet gum, olive trees, and all of you saw that firsthand. Thank you so much for coming and walking the streets of our neighborhood to hear our concerns about the South Howard Flood Mitigation Project. If the route selected for the project goes through our residential neighborhood, it will have a devastating impact on our trees. The installation of these large box culverts that can be 20 feet deep, 10 feet wide, curb-to-curb demolition would decimate the tree population. And immature replacement trees would take decades to get back to the canopy we have now. And the medians, like the historic median on Bristol Avenue with a 100-year-old well and a dozen shade trees, that would be destroyed permanently because no trees could be planted on medians ever again. And even trees in homeowners' front yards would be killed slowly because of root damage. Live oaks, 82% of one of the routes has live oaks that are street side. They have very shallow, extensive roots that go beyond the drip line, so those would all be killed off as well. So the potential loss of trees is incalculable, but maybe we could run some numbers. My neighbors and I worked together to document all the trees along these routes for the stormwater project. And I fed this data into iTreeEco, which is a software tool developed by the USDA Forest Service. So just a few highlights from the report, and I have the detailed reports here, copies for each of you. The 98 street side trees that are along just 0.4 of a mile along one of the proposed routes do way more than just give us beauty and shade. In just 1 year, they remove 267 pounds of pollution, 144 tons of carbon, produce 11 tons of oxygen, and avoid 75,000 gallons of runoff. And that is just in 1 year in less than 2 blocks. I'm not opposed to sensible stormwater project solutions. I just think that the proposed one is not suitable for a residential neighborhood. I urge City Council to redefine this project as a design project rather than design build to allow thorough and thoughtful information gathering. And perhaps council would consider a zoning ordinance to further delineate setbacks and sizing requirements for culverts in residential neighborhoods. I may not look like the Lorax, at least I hope I don't look like a stout little furry guy, but today I speak for the trees. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Yvonne Ferrelli, followed by Angela Alderman Nguyen. Good morning, ma'am. Please state your name.
I also have handouts for each of you. I don't know where you
Bring him up to her.
Is it donuts?
Yes, ma'am. Please state your name.
Good morning. My name is Yvonne Ferrelli. I live in Parkland Estates. I am a member of the historic Parkland Estates Preservation Society, and I am here to talk with you about the South Howard Flood Relief Project. Thank you all for your time and attention during our walk and talk tour of Parkland Estates and the proposed routes of this project. I appreciate each and every one coming down to talk with us. If Kimmons or the city brings a design-build contract before the council, I ask that you deny it and request only a design contract proposal. Bifurcation of the contract to a design only will ensure that the city investigates alternate routes, such as Swan Avenue to Howard to Bayshore, or Swan Avenue all the way down to Bayshore. Constructing the box culvert conveyance system on main arteries to create a spine or a trunk system for small pipes to hook up to would be the best proposal. The city says that that is how they intend to use this giant stormwater conveyance system, as a spine or a trunk system. Those are their words. So please approve only a design-only contract, if at all, under this inappropriate proposal of a stormwater project. It is my opinion that the city has already chosen the route for this project, and that route is Parkland Estates down Howard onto Bay Shore. Specifically, Lakeview Ave, Bristol Avenue, Howard, and Bay Shore are their proposed route. I've given you a document today, a package, and when you open it, you'll see my notes automatically. On number 4 of that document is an internal email from the engineers on this project. And they are proposing, quote unquote, "We need to talk about why Bristol was chosen and make it clear that the route is set." I also had a conversation with Brett Silman on May 7th, and I asked him why he hadn't chosen Swan. And he said that Swan Avenue is on a different system. I have no idea what he meant, or why Swan to Howard or Swan down to Bay Shore wouldn't be appropriate for these giant culvert boxes. But I would like Mr. Silman and I would like the engineers to explain why Swan Avenue would not be an appropriate place for these culvert boxes.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank
Next
you.
is Angela Alderman Nguyen, followed by Pastor Frank Williams. Pastor Williams will be the speaker after.
Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
Angela Alderman, when standing before you today. Again, I'm here to speak about the latest article published by Paul Guzzo in the Tampa Times, who I thank immensely for sharing these stories with the public. This new development is rather sickening and disgusts me. Surprises me? No, because the Italian Club has continued to avoid any details of my great-uncle's remains and the 1,200 alongside him. I am grateful for this individual who brought that information to Councilwoman Henderson, and I thank you so very much for making that public and having the courage. This literally makes me sick to see this blatant disrespect for those buried and desecrated that resided in College Hill Cemetery. Thank you so much, Councilman Vieira, for always supporting this quest for the truth and doing all you can for answers. The weak and arrogant reply from the Italian Club's Vice President Don Bodie is disgraceful to those buried in College Hill, my family, and to this city. This took place on their property, and trust that if any bones are found on the city property, they came from College Hill when they built that mausoleum. Release your findings from the scan and tell the truth, period. It is that simple. Accept responsibility for your wrongdoings and make it right. The revelation of Councilman Carlson being a member of the Italian Club as of recent, and his PR firm in which he resides as president at Tucker Hall and does work for the Italian Club, includes a huge eye-opener for me. I have stood before council for several years fighting this fight, and Councilman Carlson is very aware of my quest. I am ashamed and extremely in awe of this situation. The people of Tampa see it. I am not the only one anymore, which I find great comfort in that. I am not alone in this battle for the truth, and the truth is being told. It gives me great hope that the human race, that there are still people left in this community with integrity and compassion to do what's right. Thank you to those people who step up and truly care about the lost. What's next? This is not okay with me, and I will not rest until I find 100% closure to where my great-uncle and 1,200 others reside. I demand answers, and I demand movement on this issue now. This new development is not acceptable. It is sickening. The Italian Club needs to be held accountable, and I want answers. I want them now. No more secret meetings, no more lack of empathy. I want answers, and I want to know why this is so disrespectful to do this to those laid to rest. The second they began digging and saw bones and tombstones, they should have halted. I am angry and my heart hurts for the 1,200 lost, and the city of Tampa, as its residents, have to sit and watch this, and it proves that they are continuing to get away with this disrespectful act. I'm almost finished. I truly believe the light of those 1,200 souls is way brighter than the darkness behind those trying to keep this secret hidden. Private property or not, I demand answers. I leave you with this one quote from a man I truly believe in my heart was one of the most precious souls to walk this earth. And maybe on a visit to Tampa, long ago, he walked aside some of those Cubans and Afro-American individuals buried in College Hill.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Can I please, okay.
Enough, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you, guys.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And please address the council as a whole and not name individual city council members. Thank you very much. The attorney had stated those rules at the beginning. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, I also have the right to respond to something like that. The push against me a couple weeks ago was a political hit piece that somebody pushed, and I know that at least one member of city staff was involved, which is actually illegal and unethical, and I've made a formal complaint about that. I'm allowed to be a member of any organization I want. I'm also allowed to, my staff at my firm are allowed to donate and contribute time to any organization they want. I'm not involved in any way in this issue with the Italian Club. Anybody who's watched City Council knows that I've been on the forefront of pushing for all the cemeteries and all the discovery of cemeteries over the last few years, and I'll continue to be an advocate for that wherever those cemeteries are. But in the meantime, I'd appreciate if everyone would, if you have a question about this, call me and we can talk about advocacy. Of course, I want to find all the families in all the cemeteries, and I want to protect the cemeteries like Memorial and others that have been abandoned. And
thank you very much, sir.
And we need to not fall into the political rhetoric of the administration.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, Pastor Williams. Please state your name.
Yes.
The next speaker after Pastor Williams is Eileen Henderson. Good
Yes,
morning,
my
sir.
name's Pastor Williams, located 1112 East Scott Street, Paradise Missionary Baptist Church. You know, we hear all of my comments coming from different ones, but nobody seems to care. Nobody seems to care. You know, I come down here day after day, month after month. Nobody give me no answer, nobody give me no feedback or nothing. Y'all just sit up there like y'all don't give a damn. But I got to let you know, these people that got up here this night, they care. They care about the neighborhood. They care about the apartment being built and everything else. But y'all don't care. But the thing about it, somebody got to care. And you got to understand, when you fix up your budget, make sure you include all of us, including me and everybody else. We're trying to do what's right. We're trying to live a good life, but y'all don't want us to live a good life. Y'all don't care. You care less. But we had the people like me and Brother Wright raised up together, and he coming out here complaining. I come down here complaining, but getting nothing done. So I think next week, y'all need to give us some answers about a whole lot of things. And listen to us, please. We're still here in Tampa. We've been here for a long time. And I definitely want to talk about that Jackson house. Y'all ain't did nothing. Them splinters still standing up there. And they need to bring them down, regardless of whether they're going to build a Jackson house or not. They need to tear them splinters down. Get off the train there. People come in the neighborhood looking. What in the world is that? And you can't tell them, say, well, that used to be the Jackson house. Build up a Jackson house. And I'm talking about build up a nice one and give them their land back. And like the president a long time ago said, we're going to give the niggas 40 acres and a mule. You know what? I don't want no mule, but I do want my 40 acres of land back. Y'all had taken from me. And I know, I got to give God the glory from where he brought us from and where he taken us to. But we got to stand up as people and respect ourselves and y'all need to respect one another.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, ma'am. Eileen Henderson, followed by Miss Yvette Lewis.
Good morning, council.
Good morning.
Number 92, Yellow Jackets. This has my attention, and I will be listening intently. And I'm hoping the city does the right thing by the historic Little League and Mr. Wright. No words. I think for the first time in a while, I have no words. The atrocity that is unfolding with College Hill is just despicable. But as I said to my son this morning, how can we possibly expect African Americans to be treated with any dignity and respect in death when they are treated with the same indifference in life? White privilege will deny some to comprehend this horror that has taken place, nor will it allow for them to understand the strength and courage it takes for those that have fought for the recognition of College Hill and those that are exposing the truth. To them, we owe a great deal of gratitude, so thank you. And while white privilege won't allow for any compassion or understanding of this incredulous story unfolding at College Hill, I can assure you they will understand the law. We have two Florida statutes, Chapter 497 and Chapter 872. I mentioned at the May 9th council meeting, Chapter 87-2 and a couple of violations. I said then I might find more, and I did. So maybe we will never be able to penetrate the hearts of some in realizing and recognizing the injustices suffered by people of color. But I bet we can get their attention when they are charged with second and third degree felonies. We will be reaching out to Attorney General Moody, including our state representatives, and expecting deliverable actions. And to those naysayers, let me remind you, College Hill Cemetery exists. That has already been established to include the city recognizing it with a local historic designation marker. Trust me when I say this. This is far from over by a long shot. This is just the beginning. Thank you, Council.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Miss Yvette Lewis, followed by Miss Mimi Martinez.
Good morning. Yvette Lewis, President of the NAACP. Questions. The NAACP questioned when the city of Tampa, knowing and saying it is a diverse city, but yet we don't have a diverse voice in this city. East Tampa has the largest and the first CRA in the state of Florida, but yet we are still asking for the simplest things. The CRA has been plagued with problems, but the problems have been created and cultivated by the city's staff for over many years, but they blame the people. The NAACP questioned when the city says we're building affordable housing in East Tampa. Tampa City Council continues to give tax breaks to developers in East Tampa, continues to give tax breaks to developers in East Tampa, that a person building something that says affordable housing, but yet a person that's working in East Tampa at Walmart, starting salary at $13 an hour, cannot afford to live there. We receive many calls, walk-ins, and walk-ins regarding the needs of true affordable housing in the city of Tampa. The NAACP questions why the city of Tampa is not telling the truth when it comes to African American history. I was just at a press conference when someone said Tampa is getting its first African American History Museum. If you're going to tell the story, tell the truth. That's not the first. We had one once before. The NAACP is questioning why the city of Tampa invests in the Tampa Police Department when they're not willing to invest in its residents in East Tampa. You see, part of history, Ellis York, many years ago, was commissioned to walk East Tampa and provide an opportunity for residents in East Tampa. The Tampa City Council, I come here to tell you that we don't need you to continue to invest in ShotSpotter. I question why just East Tampa gets this when there are shootings in South Tampa and a mysterious shooting going on in Seminole Heights right about now. I ask right now before you to invest in another Ellis York. Do your history.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. All right, Mimi Martinez, followed by Carlos Ramirez.
Good morning, Mimi Martinez. I'm a community activist and an active watch group coordinator for my area. I'm here today to talk about public safety. First of all, I just want to thank everybody who's sitting up there for all your hard work. I know it's not easy. We may not all agree all the time on certain things, but I do respect you. I am here to give feedback about the June 6th agenda item number 14 about the ShotSpotters. I am in favor of it. It's because I live in the neighborhood with the ShotSpotters. And I know it's a pain point with City Council and the Tampa Police Department, but I wanted to give you a resident perspective because I live in a neighborhood with the ShotSpotters. I am concerned that if we do not renew this contract, it's going to be ruinous for the economical development along the Nebraska Avenue corridor. So that's a major concern for me. I also know, unfortunately, whenever we have a social problem, there's always going to be a company quick to come in and give us a solution for a price. And the ShotSpotters company is the one who's doing that right now. Until we come up with something on our own that's similar to that program, it's the best option right now. I do want to provide you 3 quick stories of how I have seen ShotSpotters work in my community. Recently in May, we had the shooting on 26th Avenue, Nebraska Avenue. At that same time, I was texting a neighbor about Burrell Park, and she said, hey, I just heard shots go off. And I told her, the police are going to come because ShotSpotters are going to alert them. And sure enough, the sirens came, police came, they investigated, they were able to investigate, and they made an arrest on the person who killed those 2 people. I just recently found out on Monday from a nonprofit organization that's in our community that told me that young lady who was killed was in their program that specializes in helping women who have been sex trafficked here in the city of Tampa. After that shooting occurred, they had an influx of women going there asking for help because they were afraid they were going to be shot next. The Nebraska Avenue is infamous for sex trafficking. Also, in about 2019, towards the end, I heard gunshots. I knew that they were going to come, the police. Shortly afterwards, I heard someone yelling for help. When I look out my bedroom window, there's a man jumping over my neighbor's fence. He collapses on their front porch and he's bleeding. I called 911 for an ambulance, but because the police were in the area already, they were able to respond and they were able to get him the medical treatment that he needed. I understand that we need more police officers. We're always going to be in a game of catch up of how many police officers we have per person in the city because our population is growing and we have tourists that always come in. The police are always going to be shifting from one corner of Tampa to another corner because there's always something going on in the area. It's just a really tough decision because ShotSpotters does not detect people, it detects sound, but people do profile people. So I would just be very careful.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Next is Carlos Ramirez, followed by Bishop Michelle Patty.
Morning, Council. Carlos Ramirez. I'm here as the Vice Chair of the West Tampa CRA CAC, which includes about a dozen organizations all located in West Tampa, including the 3 neighborhood associations of West Riverfront, Old West Tampa, and North Hyde Park. I'm also here as a transportation engineer who has dedicated 20 years of his career for safety of pedestrians and cyclists. We want to express our support for the West River Walk. This project will bring low-cost mobility options to a blighted area. It will connect neighborhoods to parks and entertainment. It will bring West Tampa residents to jobs. It will also provide us who live on the west side a connection to the river. This is a much-needed project for my area and a key piece of the comeback that West Tampa has been working really hard for. So please allow this project to continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Bishop Michelle Patty, followed by Mr. Ray Reed.
Good morning. My name is Bishop Michelle B. Patty. I am in 1,000% agreement for the shot spotter. On Monday, a young lady called me. Her son was murdered in November on the corner of 34th Street. They did not find the killer because that area is a no-snitch zone. So the people are not supporting or helping the police to find out who killed whom. Her son, murderer, was caught after the young man, 17 years old, shot people over at Armature Works. They took the bullet and ballistics showed that he had killed her son, but he had killed 3 other people that they think he's connected to, starting at the age of 13. All guns are not coming from the vehicles. You can go to the gun shows and you can buy the long guns, the assault rifle, so they're not all coming out of people's cars. People are so misled about the shot spotter. What we need to understand that folks that come up in here, they're the ones who's out telling people, no snitch, don't do this and that. But until you have your child or your grandchild murdered, then let's see if you would not want someone to tell who killed whom. So for people who have aspiration of being a mayor and all this kind of stuff, put your politics aside and think about children that are being murdered just riding in a car. The data speaks for itself. It's not about being racial. It's about people being killed in a certain area once a week, twice a week. We've had some people killed 3 and 4 times in 1 week. So we have to follow what the data is telling you all. It's simple. So, and thirdly, I want to talk about, so there would be no misunderstanding about who's doing what with the Italian club and who's a member or not. Let somebody have the same courage as our councilwoman has done. Make a motion to do a full-scale investigation and bring it to the people so we would know exactly who's who and what's what. The Yellow Jacket Little League, we need to stand up and support it, make sure that we get everything that they were entitled to, that we should have, because it has made a difference in people's lives. I'm a native, born and raised in this city. I'm not one of these people just fly off the handle, attack people because they're bigger than other folks. And on that note, I want to thank the state attorney office for doing their due diligence to let seniors such as myself know that you will be protected in this city from people who wants to attack you because you have the courage to stand up here and speak truth to power. So with that being said, once again, the shot spotter, it will help the police find out who shot whom quickly, since people are saying no snitch. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That's fine. If we could please refrain from conversations here and in the back and in the room, it's very distracting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Reed. Please say your name. We have you followed by Connie Burton. Miss Connie Burton.
I will be hopefully within my 3 minutes. Shut me off when I run over.
Please state your name, sir.
I wore this for you, Mr. Miranda. You probably remember Helen Pappas Chavez and Dignity. The biggest problem in her life was sweaty men with their shirts off at Tampa Stadium. If only we could go back to those days again. Now we've got cemeteries underfoot that we totally disrespected and dishonored the occupants. You've got a spreadsheet from me, tabbed from 1895 through 1939, everything I could find while laying in bed online of those buried at College or Cottage Hill Cemetery, and I'm at 1,502, and there's still some data sources missing. Mr. Guzzo had used numbers that I had come up with only using 2 data sources. I now have 4, and there's others out there. There's a cover letter as well. To me, it matters the who. We can argue over who did what. blame this organization, blame that organization, and oh, by the way, my dad's father jumped ship in New York City. He was an illegal immigrant, spoke fluent Italian. That's the only thing he spoke. He was from the boot. So I've got no axe to grind. I just want people to have dignity in death that they most likely were never given in life here. And I just keep working on my spreadsheets. And others are finding out where the boundaries are, but in the cover letter I sent, I used a contrast with your own Woodlawn Cemetery and how messed up that was in its first years. And it's gotten to the point where somebody needs to get a federal grant for ground penetrating radar, the best there is, and every blessed cemetery that exists today or has been erased or is sketchy, who was here before World War I, 1920, somebody needs to do ground penetrating radar there because you've got people where they're not supposed to be. And I started this 8 years ago. You were at a Northeast Seminole Heights neighborhood watch picnic, and I was supposed to get back to your office in Brickyard, Roble Cemetery, 30th and Sly. And I apologize I didn't. And until Paul Guzzo actually listened to me, I was just a crazy guy. Pointed out all these death certificates that the Mormons have online. And the history of Tampa, prior speakers, the history of the black Tampa, white Tampa, brown Tampa. When you go back on newspapers.com and read the actual events that took place, we're in fantasy land right now. We're not telling the truth.
Thank you very much, sir.
Take care.
Yes, sir. Next, we have Ms. Connie Burton, followed by Montesnot and Arlene Murray. Good morning, ma'am. Please state your name. And we'll, yes.
Is that right? Okay. Good morning. As we continue with the celebration of Juneteenth, just like that, some cities have been able to move forward. In the city of Maryland, the governor pardoned 175,000 marijuana paraphernalia so people can move forward with their lives. In Chicago, 550,000 has been set aside for a task force on a study of reparation. And right here in this city, I don't know when is the date certain for the 568 Racial Reconciliation Group will meet, but we are still waiting because we have a vast of things that need to be taken care of. Unfortunately, June 1st, right over there in the brand new built Central Park Village area, double homicide. Quiet as it kept. 2 people lost their lives. But I bet you can't put up no shot fires over there. I bet you can't put none of those big old blue flashing lights over there. You know why? Because those that pay market rent will probably soon abort the place. If we wanted to truly amend the issues of violence in our community, one thing that we have not addressed well is how to move everyone along economically. That's what the Racial Reconciliation Group would do. How do we build wealth? How do we give young people opportunity so we can move them from a place of hopelessness toward real growth? You talk about the upcoming streetcar. I know people got their little pet projects up there in the Riverwalk. But one of the biggest pet projects that you failed on is the one back in 2018. Almost 6 years ago, you talked about, some of you that was here, talked about housing choices. We knew that when Domain Homes took those lots, that we would never be, most of the residents in East Tampa would be able to touch those properties. They talked about then some of those homes would be up to $224,000. Those houses now selling in East Tampa is running almost $500,000. We have not seen this council or this administration come with a different housing product that would allow people in East Tampa to live. We talked about ADLs, accessory dwelling units. Where are they? It is conversation only. So 6 years ago, when people that was there had political aspiration to do something about housing, we're still waiting.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Next is Mentesnot, followed by Miss Arlene Murray. Good morning,
Mentesnot.
sir.
Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. We say we as African people should always be thinking about our freedom. And one thing, as a parent, I got one of my sons here with me now. I have many of them, sons and daughters. I tell them, I say the most important thing in life is to be good and be black. Everything else gonna be okay. I want to say right here, I see Mr. Wright is here, I see other people is here. I want to say it's no leadership. We don't care about the Yellow Jackets. We don't care about your spot shotters. We don't care about your recreation centers. We don't care about your Jackson House. We don't care about none of that. It's garbage. It's straight garbage. The people sit here and tell you about their shot spotters and they complain the most and they bring the nonsense to you, but they don't tell you. They say, oh, I got a relative that got murdered. They didn't tell you how their relative got murdered in Gandhi and Dale Mabry, or they didn't tell you how their relative got murdered making a drug deal. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to put it out there. But they always come down here with their hands out begging white folks for something because they getting part of it. They getting part of it. You understand? With the garbage talk, we don't want to know about it. We want to know real things. We want to know about what's going on in Virginia, what's going on in Maryland. We want to know what's going on in Chicago, where the mayor is talking about real things, reparations. Reparations, housing, dignity for African people. We don't care about your cemeteries. I want to tell you this right here and right now. We don't care about it. Y'all white folks always fooling Africans. We don't care about the College Hill Cemetery one way or another. We used to walk through it when bodies used to be coming up out of it. We don't care about it. You understand? Because let me tell you, if you want to talk about cemeteries and dead bodies, when the white folks got here, it was 200 million Indians. It's 9 million now. Genocide in the worst way. Millions of Africans brought from Africa as slaves. Life expectancy after they got to America, 3 years. Worked us to death. And y'all sitting up here talking about shot spotters and all this other nonsense. If you want to do something about crime and about guns and gun violence, talk about the gun manufacturers. Talk about that. Talk about reality. And this nonsense y'all got about sign a card to speak, it's racist. It's plain straight out racist. Nothing more, nothing less. And I asked the white man, I said, hey, how y'all came up with that? They say somebody suggested it. Bitch, somebody suggested we 26% of the population and we want 26% of the budget. I've been suggesting that for 30-some years. Have we gotten that? No, because an N suggested it and it makes no difference.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, next is Miss Arlene Murray, and then we go to the virtual public comment.
Come on, son. Favorite number one, son.
Thank you. My name is Arlene Murray.
Good morning.
I'm an 83-year-old black American female. I was here the last time and I said, I don't understand you for Indians. But yes, I do. You're very clever. Very clever. Well, young kids are clever than you. Okay. You say, Ukraine, we send money over there. You never take the time to say, our colored people of color, poor people, no home, live in the street. Oh, well, we give them some money to build a house. Oh, no, you didn't. 40 mules, 40 acres and a mule. We get that. We know that. And we're going to get that. But we want homes for our poor people. our people who are paying taxes and helping you all. Oh, Main Street, Main Street. When I moved down here, they were gonna clean up Main Street. They cleaned it up. But you never ask the people that, well, we clean it up, you can move back in. No, you clean it up so that your people can move back in, and we can't pay the rent, and we are being put outside. Oh, something else, very something else. People who have lived here before everybody has lived here. You be coming buildings and cover our graves. And oh God, look, you try to take away the books of our history. No, it won't be done. It will not be done because me and people like me will tell our sons, daughters, grandsons, teach them the ways. You take the books out, we put the idea in their heads of what we went through to fight. And the biggest thing here, vote. Vote for the good and vote for what you don't want. And you all will have to learn. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming with God's name. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. We have some virtual speakers. I have 6 shown here. Mr. Michael Randolph is first. Good morning, Mr. Randolph.
Good morning. My name is Michael Randolph, and I'm with the West Tampa CDC. Today I'm here to speak on 2 matters of importance. The first is the return of the Yellow Jack team back to its original location. Both the West Tampa CDC and the West Tampa community demands that it be returned back to where it was. The second is related to the Zion Cemetery. I'm the newest member of the Zion Cemetery Prevention and Maintenance Society. Over 400 bodies laid underground, forgotten. 3 businesses, three businesses are over top of these people. Tampa Housing Authority and 2 other businesses. The new Tampa Housing Authority is leading the effort to right that wrong, past wrong, both in time and money. Close to $8 million will be raised to include and invest in this investment to change the narrative when it comes to those people that have been forgotten. I'm 8 doors away from the bodies that have been basically built on, and I hear their crying. Over the next 2 months, you're going to be hearing a lot about the Zion Cemetery in an effort to bring knowledge to it. On talk shows, neighborhood groups will be contacted, social media, and all those other outlets will be brought up to par. Let's do the right thing when it comes to those 400 people that's been buried underground. I'm not going to mention the other 2 businesses that's part of this narrative right now, but I will in the future. I'm only saying, let's move it. Let's not forget these 400 souls that cry and beg for justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Randolph. Robert Fennell, is that correct? Is Robert Fennell on? Good morning, sir. Please state your name. Mr. Fennell. All right, let's go back to him. We'll go to Milton Foster. Is Milton Foster on? No Milton Foster? I'm sorry? Who did? Mr. Fennell, can you hear me? Mr. Fennell? Okay, Milton Foster is not on, you said. J.M. Williams, Mr. or Miss J.M. Williams? No. Nate Welch, Mr. Welch, if you're on? No. Reamer McIntyre. Mr. McIntyre, are you on?
Raymond McIntyre is on.
Yes, please say your name, sir. Oh, you already did. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, this is Raymond McIntyre, here to speak on the Yellow Jackets situation about the field. I'm gonna go different tune. I remember 2022, a little girl from Palmacia wrote a letter to the mayor stating that they don't have a softball field to play on. Somehow the mayor found, however much funding it was, to get a softball field in the Palmacia area. I find that very ironic, considering that the Yellow Jackets has the one field, which happens to be a softball field. Growing up playing at the Yellow Jackets, it was great community atmosphere. Now with the Yellow Jackets being relocated, it's like all of that community is gone. We have a lot of parks in the city of Tampa. Yellow Jackets, I consider to be very different from all those parks. A lot of the parks we're renting out to travel ball teams. Those are the teams with the kids hopes to go professional, play professional baseball. At the Yellow Jackets, we're just trying to get kids something positive to do in a safe environment. We have these travel ball teams charging kids up to $500 per month, every kid. And we're still sitting around at the Yellow Jackets. They don't have adequate lighting. If you look at the pole situation at the Yellow Jackets, it's a wooden pole. And I do believe, per the city, those poles were supposed to be replaced many, many years ago in all of the city of Tampa. All the other parks have the updated lighting system. It seems like the Yellow Jackets, there's a park in Surface Springs, these parks still have that bad pole, bad lighting. So if a little 9, 10-year-old girl can write a letter and get $400,000, $500,000, however much it was to raise to get a softball field, and we can't get the simple things. The Yellow Jackets is a park that's different from all these parks, like I say. No kid has ever paid a fee to play at the Yellow Jackets, and somehow that park is still around. Mr. Wright do everything in his power to make sure every kid can play at that park for free. And we can't get the simple things for the kids' safety. God forbid the kids happen to get hurt at that park because the lights don't work, the clay is too hard, and it's a softball field. Ball bounce up, hit a kid in the eye. We'll be speaking a different conversation then. Someone needs to make it right and get the Yellow Jackets what they need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. One final time, I'll go back to Mr. Fennell. And that will be the last public comment. Is he on? Mr. Fennell, are you on? Mr. Fennell, if you can hear me, you're able to speak. All right, we're gonna continue with a few items. Before we go to lunch, I'll do a final call. What?
May I make a suggestion? If they don't respond, then you've given them the opportunity rather than come back.
All right,
it's hard
then
for the staff
public
to be able
comment
to
is
do that.
done. Thank you
Yes,
very much. All right, at this time, there was, before we go to the chief, there was a request during public comment about item number 74, setting it for, there was a request of dismissal. You've already spoken, sir, which we can't do, but can we set it for August 1st as requested?
Well, if you can, Mr. Chairman, just please be aware that that would require a waiver of your rules by supermajority because you've already had 2 review hearings set for that day.
Okay, so then it would have to
Go
be.
to a third, you would have to waive the rules by a vote of 5. The next available date that only has one about to be set on the consent docket, a second one, would be all the way in September. I don't know if you'd let Mr. Schimberg speak to that. He's he's not the person seeking the review. He is the applicant of the original underlying decision of the VRB. I believe, did I say that correctly? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, sir. So,
Yes.
as he said, September would be the next available date.
Right, I'm asking if council would consider waiving the rules because we're essentially being prejudiced by the person appealing. They sent in a request for continuance, didn't even ask for a date. So for them, they would just have soon have it go as long as possible. But for my client that's trying to do the project, it's a little bit unfair. So I'm asking if you'd consider that. I don't know if they're gonna miss notice again. If they do that, then you might have the right to dismiss it. But I'm just asking if you would consider waiving the rules and put it on August 1st.
What is the pleasure of council? We have new rules in place. All right. We already have 2 review hearings set. The new rules say that it's a 2 hearing maximum. And a missed notice is not our doing, so.
The motion is somebody gets a date.
It would be September. What is the earliest September date? September 5th, so it would be right after Labor Day.
Is that still okay with your client?
No, I mean, it's not okay because again, I'm afraid they're gonna miss notice again, but again,
If they miss notice, it's their problem, you know?
it's their problem, but then it doesn't allow us to move forward and have the matter resolved. We're just trying to get it in front of council. We got it approved at the Bay Area Latino. Now, they're challenging us. The rules are really set up for giving somebody a chance if they're the applicant. In this case, they're appealing. So by the later we put it, it just prejudices my client. So.
Please turn your microphone on.
In other words, the process of not being today for being agreed by somebody else, that person or that entity has to send out the notices, not you guys?
Correct, because they
Well,
appealed.
there's something different here.
They
We're
appealed.
grieving a party that's not aggrieved to some degree because they're the ones that are the ones supposed to send out the notice, not the one that's being here saying, hey, somebody challenged us and now it may go on for 2 years.
Correct.
So I understand that position. I'm not here to change the rules of council, but when something comes up that is not according to how we passed it based on the facts that we had then, that if somebody appeals, they're the ones that are gonna send out the notices, but in essence, they are holding you up for maybe 2 years.
Well,
They
I
can
think-
if they want to, I guess.
Well, I think they're allowed to have at least 2 missed notices.
I didn't understand at
Yeah.
the beginning. I thought it was your client that was doing his own opinion. I said, why is he having a representation and the client sent out the notices? I was a little confused myself.
Correct. So we're being challenged by them and it's in their interest to delay it as
This
possible. I'm
is
just
something
asking.
that's unique and different.
Yeah. So what is,
Move for August.
We already have 2.
Our rules, which we just passed, and we haven't really even been following today, clearly say that we can only have 2 review hearings. We already have 2 review hearings and a full 8 items on August 1st. We have 2 review hearings and a full slate of items on the 22nd.
I move for September 26th.
September 5th? you said?
26th.
I'll do September 5th. It's closer.
September 5th was the closer date.
We can do it during the day?
Yeah.
It's a 1:30 hearing. We have a
Before a vote, if I could just say, taking everything into account, these are your rules, and your rules may be amended by a majority vote, any of the foregoing rules may be temporarily suspended for the meeting then in session by a supermajority vote of 5 or more members of council, unless such waiver is in conflict with the city charter or state or local law. These are your rules, but they may be amended, but it takes a supermajority vote.
Councilmember Clendenin.
Yeah, I actually agree with Councilman Herzog, except this is such an extraordinary situation that the person that is the applicant that's trying to move forward on a project is being kind of, for lack of a better word, victimized by this, and that we have the.
How do we know? How do we know he's being victimized?
Because that person misnoticed.
Well, people misnotice all the time. It's not a victim.
Yeah, but they're actually
But
stopping a project through a procedure. By
They're
misnoticing.
assuming they're stopping a project through procedure.
Right.
We don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
People misnotice all the time.
I understand, but I'm just, I don't know, I'm a little uncomfortable in the situation. I feel like it almost is appropriate. This is why I never support absolutes, because I think we should have the ability to be flexible with certain situations. I mean, I'm just, every time we come up with something that's an absolute, we just had one last week when I just said no, and because I don't like the fact that it was absolute. This council should be able to be flexible enough to take into that information and make an adjustment. I also agree with you. I think that we're trying to cram too much stuff into meetings, and why we need additional meetings for situations like this. So I'm willing to add that third, just because I think it's just the right thing to do, but I'll go with the will of the council. But
Councilmember Vieira.
How about this? We see if there's support, just to make it really quick, we see if there's support for a supermajority. If not, I'll vote for September. That's
All right,
it.
first, then we'll take a vote. All right, this is a motion to set it already for August 5th. We have a motion and a second.
Well, then if it goes, okay, but if it goes down.
Then, yeah, that's all right. Simple.
Then if that goes down.
Okay, all right, we have a motion and a second, and we go from there. Please restate the motion for the date, August 5th? September 5th.
So how about I make a motion to amend that to August 1st? And if that.
We already have a motion, I
I know, but I make a motion to amend that to August 1st, and if that amendment goes down, then we revert back to the original.
We have substitute motions.
Yes.
All right.
Well, not
I'll
substitute,
second that.
amendment.
We have a substitute
Amendment.
motion, Councilmember
Amendment.
amendment. Councilmember Clendenin with the second, Councilmember Vieira.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carried with Carlson and Hurtek voting no.
So the motion on the floor is now.
To waive the rules.
Right, so we're going back to the August 1st.
All right, this is can I get a motion to waive the rules to allow for this?
So moved.
Let me just say this. Everything we do, we try to make the best for everybody. However, there are exceptions. This I had, in my 30 years of public service, I have never heard one like this. In fact, when you were there, and I'm saying, you mean he missed notice again? I thought it was you that missed notice. I'll be honest with you, but it's not. It's the aggrieved person that doesn't feel right, and that person has the right to do it, and they're following it up. That doesn't mean that they'll continue. However, who am I to tell what they're going to do? And I apologize to you, because even though I didn't say anything, mentally, I thought it was you. I said, what happened to him?
No, sir.
I'll second the motion if it hasn't been seconded.
What is the motion again now?
Waive the rules.
To waive the rules and set the public hearing for August 1st, right? Is that?
First is to waive the rules. Do we have
Yes.
a motion to waive the rules?
Well, actually, so the motion, excuse me, point of order. The motion that was on the floor by Councilman Carlson was to set the public hearing for the September date. I made a motion to amend to August 1st, so as far as that's done, and by doing that, we actually automatically waived our rules.
No, you amended the motion. You didn't vote on the motion.
Oh, I thought-
And the other thing is, by your motion, you're now in violation of the rules unless you waive them.
Oh, there we go, okay, never mind.
Can we get a motion?
Sorry to make
for
it so
clarity?
complicated.
That's
I'll make a motion to amend the rules.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carried with Hurtek voting no.
Now your motion is on the floor, sir. And we need to state the date, time, and place.
And it'll be a 1:30 hearing.
I make a motion to set a public hearing for August 1st at 1:30 PM, 350.
Second.
West Kennedy Boulevard, third floor.
We have a motion and we have a second from Councilmember Carlton and discussion from Councilmember Hurtak.
Thank you. I don't think this is out of the ordinary. I think what will happen now is both developers and the public will be able to come here when there's when they believe that the system isn't being used right, and they're gonna come here and use it. We'll see it again. So I think this is a dangerous precedent to be set.
We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Motion
Have a nice
carried with
afternoon.
Hurtek voting no.
All right, Chief.
Mr. Chairman, just
Yes,
very
yes, sir.
quickly, just housekeeping.
Yeah.
Number 92, do you want to do that early in the staff reports, or at what point, after 78, 79, or 80, or towards the end of the agenda? That's the Yellow Jackets? At the end? I just need some direction.
In order.
Okay, thank you.
Point of order on this, and with all respect, on this issue that's coming before us. We made the motion to reconsider, and with all respect for my good friends here from Tampa PD and the chief, I think we need to debate this issue, but because we didn't notice this for a future meeting, I don't know if it's appropriate for us to take new testimony because it wasn't noticed for public meeting. I think we could debate it because we actually already heard this. We're all aware of this issue. I think we should just go to a debate by council and take a vote and not hear any additional testimony.
I agree, because if the public can't talk about it and they didn't know about it, then we shouldn't get new evidence. I agree.
And quite frankly, I was kind of uncomfortable with some people that were here during the public discussion to talk about this as well, that was loaded without the two sides. So I think we just move forward, we debate it amongst ourselves and take a vote.
It looked like, we've seen on other issues where the administration recruited people to speak out. We're not allowed to talk to each other, so we don't know that something like this is going to come on the agenda, except for the briefings that we've had. And it looks like the administration took advantage of that by bringing people here. I don't think that's reflective of what the community thinks. And we didn't have any public show up to talk about it other times. I really think we should, for the sake of the public, we should schedule this for a meeting. It's not fair to the public. It sounds like they have the vote, so it will come up anyway, but there should be a robust discussion, to be fair.
Wow.
Mr. Chairman,
No.
if I can.
Point of order.
Mr. Schultz.
Just before you make a motion, because I want to make sure the motion is not out of order. What was placed on the motion by Councilwoman Henderson during the review of the agenda and approval of the agenda was to take up a motion to reconsider. This is not reconsidered. This is not reconsiderable yet unless you act upon the motion to reconsider. A motion to reconsider. It was added to the agenda, the discussion at this point. So a motion would be in order if there is one.
Is there a motion?
If there's a motion.
Wait,
We already made the motion to reconsider.
No, you made a motion to put it on the agenda to reconsider.
And at 11:30.
At 11:30, and here we are now. So there is no motion on the floor now. Now is the
Councilmember
discussion
Carlson
on
was
it.
going to speak first, Councilmember Vieira, Councilmember Miranda.
So I can't make a motion to put it on a different date yet.
You can't make a motion.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, there's no motion on the floor. Do you?
I can't make a motion to move it to a different date.
No, because this hasn't been reconsidered yet.
Councilman Anderson.
We're ready to talk about it.
All right, Councilmember Vieira, Councilmember Miranda.
Yeah, if I may, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Since
Yeah.
it's my district, I really want to talk about it, but go ahead, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you. Yeah, for me, the procedural issue, I mean, whether or not people were brought or were asked to be here, and I don't want to say people were brought here, people were asked to be here to support a certain position, there's procedure, and I don't think this has ever happened on city council since I've been here. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. I remember when council voted down the Tenants' Bill of Rights, I brought it back, but I wasn't here for that vote. So that's separate and distinct from what we have here today. I do want to speak about some of the people who were here, though. Whether or not they support what the Tampa Police Department wants to do, Jay Johnson was here, who lost his son to gun violence, and he, along with Patricia Brown and others, founded Rise Up for Peace. And I listen to Jay on these issues. I do, because he speaks from a place of deep hurt, of the greatest hurt that a person can have. And I listen to him. So when he's here, I don't go, the administration brought him or whatever. Jay Johnson's here on behalf of Rise Up for Peace. And I respect that 110%, as I know we all do.
Point of order, there is no motion on the floor yet.
That's what I was just going to say.
He's speaking, ma'am.
But
Yeah, but
there's
there's nothing to speak about.
there's nothing to speak about right now.
I know, I'm speaking in response to comments that have been made. That's it. I mean,
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Would you rule on that? The question is, before you have the debate, I guess are you raising an objection?
Yeah, I'm saying that we're not talking about anything and you're just talking about a random thing. And if you're talking about a random thing, that's for new business. If you have a motion, the first thing you should do is make the motion and then state your case.
Make a motion and a second, gets it on the floor for
how about
debate.
this, if I may, Mr. Shelby, if I may, sir, to satisfy that and well taken, Councilwoman Hurtak, how about someone make a motion? I believe Councilwoman Henderson was going to make it from the prevailing side last time, and then I can continue, but I'm pretty much done, by the way.
Councilmember Miranda, then I'm going to go to.
I just want
I
to say
think
this.
that's correct.
I'm here and I'm
we're-
confused.
Again, point of order, we don't have a motion. The only person who can make this motion to reconsider is Councilwoman Henderson. Everyone else talking, there's nothing on the floor yet. And that's part of our new rules. Or it's actually old
Mr.
rules.
Chairman,
Actually,
please.
we're going after Robert's Rules of Order, and the question here is, you raised an objection early on with regard to the debate and wanting to have a debate on a later date. You are having debate now, and you have staff here now, so you, if I understand correctly, and I'm not taking a position, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're making a point of order that in order to properly address this under Robert's Rules of Order, to have this discussion, it should be a motion and a second should be on the floor
Yes, correct.
before you have debate. That is not the way the
Yes.
city council normally operates. It's a very colloquial, friendly body. But under Robert's Rules of Order, debate takes place after a motion and a second procedurally, if you were to take strict Robert's Rules of Order.
Thank you very much. Councilmember.
All I'm gonna say is somewhere earlier this morning, Councilmember Henderson made a motion for 11:30. It was passed. It's past 11:30. So I think we have to just, whatever that motion was that she made that was passed, somebody's gotta talk on it, or we're just gonna sit and look at each other.
Thank you very much. No, Councilmember Henderson, would you like to speak, ma'am?
Okay, well, I have a point of information. It's my understanding this morning, maybe I misunderstood, that the motion that she had placed was to place this at 11:30, and that we did vote to waive the rules. That's what I'm confused. I thought we already had done that, so we did not. We placed this on the, we waived the rules and placed this on the, I'm sorry,
No.
we reconsidered, vote to reconsider, and we put this on the agenda. That did not happen this morning?
My understanding is that
Well, how did- if
she wanted it for discussion, and the motion, I don't recall, do you have a, I don't believe there was a
Councilman
motion
Henderson,
to
was it your intent
reconsider.
was it your
I
intent this
believe-
morning to
Please
reconsider?
allow the city attorney to finish speaking.
I believe it was I'm sorry, forgive me. I'll wait,
Chair,
Mr.
it
Chair.
would be helpful if you call for whoever is going to speak, let them speak, and then pick the next person.
Yes, ma'am.
It would be so helpful to.
Okay, Robert's Rules, I had a point of information, and that's why I was asking. Was the intent of the maker of the motion this morning to reconsider the motion and the vote that we took this morning, was that her intent? That was the question.
To put it on the agenda
To put-
today. which we are-
With the motion to reconsider, was that the intent this
Yes,
morning?
just to place it here. Yes.
My understanding, and forgive me, but let's do this properly so that nobody will complain that we're doing the best we can. It was a two-stage process. During the approval of the agenda, my understanding was you picked 11:30 to have this discussion on a motion to reconsider. There was no motion to reconsider this morning.
There was no motion to
That's
reconsider.
just to
No.
put it on the agenda.
That's correct. You can
Okay, thank
verify
you.
with the
That
clerk.
was my point of information. That was the information that I was asking for. Because I was confused about whether that we had already had the
Thank you
vote to
very much.
reconsider.
And if you, and
That's it. Thank you very much. The motion was made to put on the agenda. We are here at the agenda at that time. The chief is here. Chief, is there anything you'd like to add? Because we had a motion from Councilmember Henderson to bring this item up.
Point of order. Point of order. I'll go back to the same thing. There's no agenda, there's nothing on the agenda. It wasn't noticed. We need to resolve the issue if we're going to reconsider this, period. And that's a council's decision.
Yes, ma'am.
What he's saying is we shouldn't take any new information because we haven't allowed the public the notice of a week to come and to speak. Only the administration who asked people to come speak got that notice.
Okay.
And we don't have a motion to reconsider, so what are we talking about?
my recommendation, council, is if you do want to reconsider this item, put a motion on the floor and get a second, and then you can open the debate. And you can
Okay.
hear from whoever you wish.
Who wishes to make a motion to reconsider, meaning has to
Prevailing side.
Be somebody on the prevailing
So
side.
moved.
All right, this is to re-vote on the item from June 6th.
Put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you, in the form in which it was originally.
Now you don't have it.
We have that motion from Councilmember Henderson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Vieira. Any discussion? If not, we take a vote.
You
All in
must put a
favor?
date on it, when it's gonna be done.
No, this is, we vote on it
Okay.
today, sir. Yes. So today, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Motion carried with Carlson and Hertzek voting no.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to schedule this discussion for either next week or July 18th. July 18th is the next.
July 18th is very busy. If not, August is the next regular council meeting.
I'm fine putting August 1st.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Carlson to continue this item and put it on the agenda for August 1st regular meeting. We have a second from Councilmember HERTAC, do we have,
So that the public can be
so the
notified.
public can be notified, do we have anything? Yes.
Yeah, discussion about this. I.
Was
I
there a
under-
second?
Yes, I understand that the contract is expiring, so there's some time critical elements to this. My point of what I was trying to make earlier as well is that on the reconsideration, we've already had this discussion, we've had the information. If we weren't going to delay that, I think it's council's prerogative to have that discussion amongst ourselves today and take a vote today. Because there are contractual issues of delaying. So I think we should just take the up or down vote today and move forward.
All right, Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you. When we addressed this, within 24 to 48 hours, officers responded to a shot spotter activation in the area of 3608 North 28th Street. There were 26 shell casings recovered, and 9 minutes later, the officers located the 17-year-old victim shot in the leg, non-life threatening, and was transported to Tampa General Hospital. This was within a short period of time after we made this decision. When it came to council that day, the police officers present for the presentation did not do a very good job. I have no issue saying that, but it was a very, very poor presentation. They didn't push back on any of the challenges that were presented to them. And, you know, basically, as an educator, I just felt they were unprepared. So I did not support it because the presentation did not provide very valuable information that the police really should have provided. Also, the other side to this is that I don't believe the community was coerced by the administration. I am the district representative, and so I just happened to have a meeting with a constituent who actually came today, public comment. I actually saw her yesterday at an event, and she indicated that, you know, she would be coming. But we also met shortly after that particular shooting. And then, you know, another member came today. And another member of the public. But in all fairness, there were people who came today that are for and against it. As the district representative for District 5, public safety for all of us, you know, is a priority. To rule it as a waste of money, can you give me that dollar figure? Someone give me that.
$280,000.
$280,000 in terms of a $2 billion budget and the things that we make decisions on every day. It is not a waste of money. There's also in the past been, the police don't like these very, very general statements. I also have decided to have these little conversations in District 3, you know, to see if this is a waste of their time, and that is not true, although there has been comments up here from the dais that indicates this. Now, every community is different. A public comment from someone to say we should have it all over the city. Well, there's not shootings like this all over the city. That's just the reality. This is a very, very particular area that needs a level of support that cost us under $300,000. And I think in the past, we've actually gotten a grant of some sort, you know, to have this type of initiative. So for me, bringing it back, I just was able to actually have a conversation with the chief only because we were at an event yesterday together. You know, everything is not a conspiracy. Sometimes because of what happened after that shooting, because we get messages of things like that, you know, when things happen in our communities, I get messages of shootings, you know, that are brought to my attention. And for me, it is my responsibility as the District 5 representative to have this reconsidered because it is a low cost that actually puts us in a position to give the officers the tools necessary to do their job and to be more effective. In this case, they were able to find the shooter. So it does work. It's a program that works. It is a specialty that is not needed in every aspect of our community. And so that is why it was important for me as the District 5 representative to, you know, ask for the reconsideration, because it was a 4-3 vote. And, you know, I would be remiss if I did not do that. So I just want to indicate that to the public that's still listening. You know, we have to make tough decisions every single day. And the poor presentation actually caused me, for something that I supported before, I voted not to support it because the presentation did not provide the information that I believe is necessary to sustain, me saying yes again.
Mr. Chair,
And can he be called
Some
upon when I'm done?
Sir,
I mean,
just a moment.
some comments were made
I-
about me,
I'm-
and I would like to respond.
Just a moment, let her finish. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll just yield my time, thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Carl.
First of all, I find it, I would like for us to have a collegial body up here. This mayor and the last mayor like to use the term conspiracy to try to discredit any legitimate complaints about them. Anything that I say is fact-based. I don't have conspiracies, and I find it incredibly offensive that anyone of my collegial body would take on the messaging of the administration.
Did I call you conspiracy?
You said that everything is not a conspiracy. We have detailed data, which I'm happy to share with you, or we can hold a schedule, where the administration has recruited people before. There's an article in WFLA TV and Creative Loafing from a couple years ago when we were talking about renting while black, where two reporters from different organizations found out that two people within the mayor's administration were not only recruiting people from East Tampa to be in favor of a program, but they also gave them rides. And that's documented in the media. And so if something's documented, if there's fact, that doesn't mean that it is a conspiracy, except that maybe the administration doesn't like the fact that we caught them. Whether anybody today was coerced to come here, I don't know. To City Council Member Vieira's point about Bishop Patty and Jay Johnson, I've had long conversations with them as well, and I grieve with them at the horrible things that have happened to them and the people they do. And I am certain that they came here on their own accord. However, how did they find out about this? And it could be that it was from the discussion that Councilmember Henderson had yesterday. I believe that anyone who came here today came with their own concerns and their own opinions. However, it's not fair to the public that may have different opinions that they didn't know that this was not scheduled today. And so, and to the point about the police, you said that you found that it's not true, Councilmember Henderson, that the police are concerned about this. I've talked to many police officers who are concerned about it because of the waste of time that it has. And so the police officer you talk to may have a different opinion than the ones I spoke to, but that doesn't delegitimize the concerns and comments of the police officers I spoke to. So I hope that we can respect each other's opinions in that way. And at this point, I'd like to call the question, the motion on the table currently is to schedule it for, I forgot, September 1st?
No, August 1st.
August 1st?
Yeah, and,
Wait, yes, he's called the question,
Yeah.
and he's called the question, there's a second. This is to reschedule
Yeah.
or continue it to August 1st.
This is to call the question.
This is to call.
No, this is to call the question to end the debate.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to end the debate. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
nay.
Motion failed with Clinton, Henderson,
The question has not been called, debate is still open.
Yeah, so the debate is still about whether to put it on August 1st, not about the merits of whether we're going to approve this or not.
Who are you gonna call on, Chair?
Councilmember.
May I just briefly ask a question?
No.
No, Councilmember Hurtak, Councilmember Clendenin.
I mean, if we're going to have this, we're gonna have it with, public notice. I believe that's the correct thing to do. People did show up, and regardless of how, it's not noticed on the agenda. This is something that's very important, that we shouldn't just bring things up and vote on them without the public knowing about it. It's why so many members of the public not only ask us about the agenda, but then they complain that they don't have the supporting documents. So it wasn't even on the agenda, much less supporting documents being made available. So I agree that we should move this to August 1st.
Councilmember Clendenin.
Motion to amend to hear it today without additional testimony, and then
Second.
Okay.
All right, this is a motion from Councilmember Clendenin with a second from Councilmember Henderson to amend
To hear it
to
today.
hear it today. All in favor?
Aye.
Without additional testimony.
Yeah.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
No.
Motion carried with Carlson and Hurtek voting no.
I'll second call the question.
All right, we have a motion.
I have things to say.
she had already reconsidered it, so that's on the agenda.
So, yeah, now we have to have the motion to reconsider.
Okay,
So, no, but you have to you have to make the motion to reconsider first.
No, she already did that one.
So, well, and then, so I have a substitute motion.
We have a motion to reconsider, Councilmember Henderson?
She already made that in Vieira's second.
Okay, with a second
So
from
I have a
Councilmember Vieira.
substitute motion.
Go ahead.
My substitute motion is that we move to spend $280,000 to fund more officers.
Second. That would, point of order, I don't think it's germane to this issue. And
Oh,
think
but it absolutely
But
is.
it's not
It's
germane.
talking about using money. So my
It's not-
substitute motion is to, no, and we're not taking.
Megan Newcomb on behalf of the city.
No.
Wait.
Point of order, well, I guess this is not a point of
The
order,
motion-
so I misspoke. Go ahead.
The motion
So I have a point
is
of
to
order,
reconsider the
Mr. Chair.
resolution.
I don't believe that
They have
that
to
is,
vote
as
on
much
that.
as I support that issue, I don't believe that that's actually germane to this issue and would not be relevant to the order, the.
Mr.
There's a question, there's a question here of whether this motion is germane. It's a motion, in effect, it's a motion to amend in a way that it's a substitute. You raise a point of whether or not it's germane. So your point of order is now whether that motion is germane.
Right.
And the question then is, if I understand the motion correctly, and if it's not, then it would not be germane, I would think, but let me see. There's a financial cost associated with this contract
Yes.
in the amount of,
$280,000.
and your
more or
motion,
less.
your motion is to,
Take that money
of the $280,000 allocated towards this,
Mm-hmm.
and do what?
and spend it on more police officers.
Does that,
Well, we can still.
Ms.
then
Point,
they can vote on that first.
Mr. Chair, point of
That may
order.
be true, you're right. That is-
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Councilmember Carlson.
There's an issue,
Well,
there's an
one
issue.
point of order at a time. I have a point of order on the
Point
floor.
of order is that that motion is out of order at this time until the motion to reconsider the initial document is on the floor.
But that's what is on the floor.
No, it's not on the floor. You have not voted yet to reconsider
For today.
for today. Yeah, let's give them the resolution.
Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you. Here, let me just make sure. Let me
Mr.
test
Chair,
this out.
I have a legal concern that I'd like to bring up.
Go ahead, sir.
I've discussed this with Ms. Zellman before, and that there's a fine line in bar rules, and there's some flexibility with city government. Please, sir, can.
No,
just-
we don't need that yet.
When the city attorney has an attorney who's representing a department of the city or representing a case, they cannot represent the city. They're only representing that department. And I would ask Ms. Zellman to send a city attorney down who's representing the city. We have Mr. Shelby, and no disrespect to any attorney who represents us, but we've had cases on land use issues and others where an attorney was put in the awkward position of representing both, and that can't be. We have our city council attorney, we have an attorney who's representing the police department, and we need an attorney who's representing the city and not an individual department.
Mr. Shelby, we are voting on this item, $280,000 specifically for this purpose. No, well, that's what it is. I'm not,
But yes.
It's not what's on the floor.
but the amendment, I don't think is appropriate for shifting that money elsewhere. Is that correct?
That's another discussion. What you need to make, the threshold question is, does this council want to consider what it voted on previously to bring this back for another vote? That's the motion that you're voting on. Not what you say yes doesn't mean you're approving it. That's going to be the following motion.
So I call the question on the motion to reconsider.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin.
For today.
Yes,
Yes.
right now. Second from Councilmember Vieira.
To call the question.
Yes, all in favor?
Debate ends.
No.
Sir, no?
Motion carried with Hertzog voting no.
No more debate. The motion is on the floor. Do you need it repeated?
Yes, please repeat the motion for
Or
clarity.
does the clerk do it? Does it?
Yes, please repeat the motion.
This is a motion to reconsider the Shot Spotter program in its original form.
By Councilmember Henderson, seconded by Miranda, I believe.
It was motioned by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Councilmember Vieira.
All right, we have this motion and a second on the floor.
Call the question.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried with Carlson and Hertzog voting no.
Thank you very
The
much.
motion is
No,
on
we
the
got,
floor.
no, now we have to,
Now we have to make the motion.
All right, make the motion. Who wishes to make the motion?
To what, pass that item?
Yes.
If I may, I'll make the motion.
We have a motion from Councilmember Vieira. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Henderson.
And I
Councilmember-
have a substitute motion to move the $280,000 to funding more police officers.
We have a motion. This is a substitute motion from Councilmember.
And
Hurtak.
call the question.
It's two
I
separate
can't.
motions.
Well, then, I just, let's just have the vote.
Councilmember Hurtak has made a substitute, second from Councilmember Carlson. Councilmember Vieira?
Yes, and she wanted to call the question. Do you want to vote on that, ma'am, before I
There's no
speak?
second, there was no second.
get a second.
Okay, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bill seconded it.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Wait, no. Okay, point of order. We have a substitute we have to vote on the substitute motion before you can, the second motion would be out of order.
Okay, well then, never mind, I rescind.
Say it again, say, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
You can't do the call of question until we approve the first
Right.
motion.
Oh, sorry.
So we're voting to approve the ShotSpotter program, yes or no?
Yes.
No, we're voting on my substitute motion
Okay.
of moving $280,000 to funding more police officers.
We have a substitute motion from Councilmember Hurtak. We have a second from Councilmember Carlson. Yes, sir, Councilmember Vieira?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Shelby, we had discussed this last week, correct? Whereas this is, that's a fiction. In other words, we can't say no to this and move it to this. We're voting on a fiction. Is that correct?
Well, obviously, there's no detail with regard to moving money. If you're saying just to do that, that is a mid-year budget transfer if it were to be done, and that would have to be recommended and presented by the mayor.
Okay, so are we, and how about this? Ms. Zellman stood up. Are we voting, I don't know if you have an answer to that, ma'am.
No,
Are
we're not.
we voting on a fiction?
Are you
If
voting,
have
the
one.
question is, are you voting, there's no, what it does is, it's a motion to not spend, in effect, it's a motion to not spend, I don't know whether she stated this.
No, I'm sorry, I can clarify the motion. The motion is to move $280,000 to next year's budget to fund new police officers.
Okay, so that was attempted last week, and somebody, I don't know if it was the city attorney or our attorney, said that, I don't want to use the word fiction. Help me out here.
Who did that last week?
Just
Andrea Zellman, City Attorney's Office. The issue that you're being asked to reconsider is a resolution approving a contract.
Right.
If you want to vote against the contract and make another motion asking the mayor to allocate money from the budget, as Marty said, that would be a separate motion, but that isn't the way approval of contracts work. You don't get to say, I'm gonna vote against this contract and ask that the money be moved somewhere else. It's two separate items, and you can't.
Well, but
conflate
the
them like
substitute motion still stands.
We have a substitute
Because
motion.
she got a
Councilmember
second.
Vieira.
And yes, so I'll explain my vote. TPD has requested this to fight crime. I've spoken to people. Like I said, I heard from Jay Johnson, Bishop Patty. I've talked to Jay Johnson, Patricia, and others in Rise Up for Peace many, many times about gun violence. If this was something that could be done to fund more police officers, right? We'd have the chief of police begging us to do it. We'd have Brandon Barclay in here right now supporting this, and we don't. So again, to me, this is saying no to money that can go right now to the fight on crime and going, hey, maybe in next year's budget, we can hire 2 police officers. Because I actually spoke to the chief about this and going, hey, listen, could we move this money, right? At best, 2 police officers. So I don't want to give away money and put it back into the abyss of the budget that is going to go to fight crime, that victims of crime are asking for, to take a chance on something that could happen that we can do anyway as council. So again, I appreciate the sentiments by Councilman Hurtak, but I will respectfully vote no. Thank you.
Let's call the question.
If I can, I'm sorry.
Call the question.
He said it.
Well, I want to be able.
He hasn't had a second yet.
Do we have a second to call the question? I'm just ready to vote.
I know, let's we know how this vote's gonna go down, let's move.
Well,
But he didn't get a
the
second.
point is, I think you asked, and going to your point of order of whether this is germane. In order for it to be germane, I think the city attorney makes an excellent point. It has to be contingent upon the rejection of this resolution.
That was exactly my point, but I figured I didn't get a lot of traction on it, so I didn't want to
But-
beleaguer,
but I
because
think-
I know the way the vote's gonna go down, so I didn't want to beleaguer the point.
Okay.
I'll second his motion to call the question.
Call the question. We have a motion and a second to call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Wait, is there opposed?
I will not support it because Councilman Miranda wanted to speak and I don't want to.
So can we do that again?
We have a motion and a second to call the question. Councilmember Miranda.
Wait, no,
No, we have no debate on call the question.
I'm
So-
out of it. I didn't recognize, I'm out of it. Don't worry about me.
Just-
If
we-
I was,
we didn't
if I
actually
was
finish the
watching
vote.
TV, I would never run for the city council. Don't blame the administration, blame us.
I guess I should have watched TV a couple years ago,
Where do we stand, Madam Clerk? What's in front of you? What is that? A vote on what?
Call the question.
To call the question.
We have a
Substitute a
motion.
motion.
Okay.
We have a motion to call the question. We have a second
From Bill.
from Councilmember Carlson. All in favor? This is to call the question.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So now we go back to your substitute. Any nays? Is there any
I
against?
vote yes, I vote yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you please read the vote for the record?
Motion carried with Hurtak voting no.
Councilmember Hurtak, you have an amendment.
No, we just voted to call the question.
Okay, all right.
So what's on the floor?
What's on the floor is my motion to move the funding to fund more officers. That's what's on the floor. It was
But that
seconded
is-
by Bill, but it doesn't matter. The question's been called. That's what we're voting on.
It's not germane, but if that's what you want to do, that's fine.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak. We have a second from Councilmember Carlson. Is that correct? Yes. This is for your amendment.
Yes, and the question's been called, so we
Watch this. Chairman,
no more comments.
No, that's it. Question has been called. We just have to take a vote.
no debate.
No debate.
This is a different motion, so it
Yes.
Wow, no debate.
We called the question.
Wow.
All in favor? This is for Councilmember Hurtak's amendment, seconded by Councilmember Carlson.
Can we do a roll call vote?
Sure, I'd like to have it roll call, all of them.
Let's go.
Carlson? Hurtak?
Yes.
Clendenin?
No.
Henderson?
No.
Vieira?
No.
Miranda?
No.
Maniscalco?
No.
Motion failed with with Clendenin, Henderson, Vieira, Miranda, and Maniscalco
So we
voting
go
no.
back to the original motion.
Yes, sir. Is that permitted?
Councilmember Henderson has made a motion. Is there a second? Who was the second? Councilmember Vieira is the second.
So I call the question on the original motion.
I had my mic on.
The motion is to put this back on for a motion to reconsider.
No, we already did that.
That passed. What?
Yes.
What?
Y'all call me when you need.
That passed?
No, Charlie,
Okay.
please stay.
I'm just telling you, I can't take it anymore sitting down.
So the motion is, the actual motion's on the floor. So
Councilmember Hurtak.
on May 14th, U.S. Senators Markey and Warren from Massachusetts and Wyden from Oregon wrote to DHS Inspector General Kafari. Quote, several recent reports have cast substantial doubt on the accuracy and effectiveness of the ShotSpotter gunshot detection system and have raised serious questions about its contribution to unjustified surveillance and over-policing of Black, Brown, and Latino communities, end quote. The senators suggest that this may be in violation of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Studies, my question to you all is, are you comfortable spending taxpayer dollars on something that may be in violation of the Civil Rights Act? Second, are you comfortable putting police on the street in order to fund a technology? An April study by UC Santa Barbara researcher found increases call to dispatch time by 1 minute and call to on-scene time by 2 minutes, decreasing the likelihood of arrest in a domestic battery by 14% for these wasted calls. Studies have repeatedly shown that faster response times lead to higher crime clearance rates, and the answer to addressing our city's issues are putting more officers on the streets, not taking them off to fund a technology that further increases response times and lowers clearance rates.
Thank you very much.
So I call the question.
Thank
Stop
you.
beating his dead dog.
I had already had my light on and.
I'd like to hear.
Thank you. Now that we've opened up this conversation, I would like, this is now the opportunity where I have invited and asked the police to bring their do not interrupt me while I'm talking. Please control your dais, Chair.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Do not interrupt me. This is a point within this conversation where I can ask that we have the presentation by our police department that has come forward for this presentation. City Attorney, does that require a motion for me to do that?
Normally not, but if somebody objects, it may call.
Okay,
Point of
well,
order. We
um,
already agreed
just-
to not do this.
I didn't hear a vote on that, I'm sorry.
excuse me.
Councilmember Henderson has the floor. Thank you.
Was there a vote to not allow anybody else to speak other
No,
than the council?
that was actually just movement and noise presented by stopping them from presenting, but we did not make it official that they could not present.
Go ahead, Councilmember Henderson.
Yes, so, Mr. Attorney Shelby, is it necessary to make a motion to allow the Tampa Police Department to present on this issue, or can we just request that they be able to speak at this time?
Normally, you could just request unless there's an objection. If there's an objection, then you could do a motion and a vote, but.
Okay,
Mr.
well,
Chair, Mr. Chair, it's your meeting. How do you want to proceed?
I'm ready to vote on the item.
I would like the presentation by the police department, and I would like the police department to make their presentation. If I could get a second for that discussion, it would be greatly appreciated.
It's
Go
gonna
ahead,
jeopardize my
Councilman Vieira. Is there a
vote.
second? Is
Yeah,
there a
I'll second, and here's why. We're being told that this is a decision somehow, and I want our police to address this, between hiring more police officers and shot spotter. That begs a response from the people who always support the police. The police. That's why I'm seconding that. So that's why.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is
Nay. I'll tell you, I'm gonna change my vote on this with
Can you
this.
call?
I'm gonna change my vote on this. If we end up taking additional testimony, I think it's inappropriate without public notice and going to another meeting. I think we should reconsider based on the evidence that we received in the last meeting, or the debate that we have on this, on council. If we take further testimony to this, I'm going to vote against it.
May I, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I respectfully to Tampa Police Department, I do withdraw that second. We need to pass this. And if we're gonna have a flip vote, I wanna respect that.
All right.
I withdraw my motion. We can just go straight to a vote.
Second it. I'll second your motion.
No, that's okay.
No, she's withdrawn it.
I've withdrawn my motion. We can just get to a decision without the police presenting. And I just want to say for the record, when we discussed this very topic, there was no one in the public that actually came forward and commented on it that day.
Councilmember Henderson, would you like, Councilmember Miranda?
I just want to ask myself to buy 7 tapes of what happened today so we can, I'm going to give it to all of us for a Christmas gift. So see how well we work together. Thank you very much. And I'm going to pay for it.
DVD. Councilmember Henderson, would you like to make your motion?
Yes, to move the resolution?
Second.
We have a motion to move this resolution, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Vote, please.
Motion
Please,
carried with Carlson and Hurtek voting no.
All right, we are in recess until, is 1:30 okay, or 1:45?
1:30.
Let's, 1:30?
Unless you call.
All right, let's do 1:40. Thank you, we're in recess.